You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
So I'm just Lando Ferrando.
Yeah,
So
but that's perfect. You're
okay.
Mike Lando Ferrando. So then, what would I be called?
So because of the picture you posted for our episode, dude, I really like Robbie One Kenobi.
I'm digging it.
I love it.
It makes me sound mystical. Plus, I get to watch someone like basically burn to death and then come back as like an evil force that murders me later.
All right, but back to the Lando Ferrando intro, because this is how I do my intros on my podcast. So I'd be like, "Welcome to Sith Talkers, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lando."
This is some Michael Buffer shit right here.
Wait for it. Oh, Ferrando.
Well, I just aged 20 years, but I'd enjoyed it. Okay, let me give you a concept.
Yeah.
If you could be a Jedi, or would you be a Sith Lord? Which one would you be?
I would definitely be a Sith Lord.
Is it because of the electricity coming out of the fingers?
Fucking A. I mean, okay, look, so red is like my favorite color. So I would definitely want a red lightsaber. And what's funny about that question is my favorite character in the entire Star Wars world is Luke Skywalker. Because of his good guy story, the farm boy who
Gets his hand cut off, can't touch
pretty
himself
much
anymore. Yeah.
But like, yeah, man, he's just like your typical everyday kid who gets like forced into a situation and has to grow up really fast and then fucking saves the day at the end, at the end of it.
You want to be the hero, but you also like the villain's weapons and equipment.
Yes. So like in the new movies, Kylo Ren, he has a lightsaber that has actually hilts, like lightsaber hilts coming out the side of it. So it looks like a sword almost. And the energy blade that comes out, it's unstable. So it's all rigid. I look, I mean, you can here, you can see it.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, because if you can just get a red lightsaber, would you still want to be a Jedi if you just could get a red lightsaber? Like, if I was going to ask you, if you could choose to shoot electricity out of your fingers or be able to kind of make someone do anything you want, what would you do?
Oh man. Yeah, it's like the Jedi mind control thing.
Jedi mind control for me, bro. I like electricity coming out of the fingers, but either way, you're making someone do something for you. I mean, you're either electrocuting them to death or you're doing it passively.
Okay, so but hold on. So in the Star Wars universe, the mind tricks, they only work on the weak-minded. Fucking electricity will fuck you up.
Wait a minute. So they only work on the weak-minded.
Yeah, like I said, so
So
everybody
if I get into like a battle with Stephen Hawking's, I'm basically screwed.
Yes. Yeah, because I don't think the Jedi mind trick would work on him. No way.
I don't know. He's already kind of. I could just push him at that point, to be honest.
No, man, that dude through and through, dude. He's super right.
He's in a chair though. I could just push him, like just force push him.
You could just
Like
push.
instead of telling him get in the corner, I'd just be force push him in the corner. Rip Stephen Hawking. Sadly, we lost a man who understood the universe and saw that there was a cantina out there that played wonderful music. That's my favorite thing about Star Wars, to be honest with you. It's just those guys that are just playing the instruments, just chilling. Yeah, they don't care. They just don't care. They're just sitting there like they don't blink. They don't do anything. They have no emotion. They're just rocking out. I wish they added a triangle player, though, because I feel like that's what would have made the band complete.
You're probably right, man. Like in the Star Wars universe, you're probably like those guys probably have it the best because they don't got to worry about fucking politics, fucking empire, the fucking rebel alliance, the good guys, the bad guys, the fucking war. They're just like, hey man, can I work in your bar and like make
someone gets shot and they just stop playing and then start playing again. Like they just completely just it happens all the time. This is like the 5th time this week.
Well, yeah, because in the scene, like Han literally flips a coin to the bartender. Sorry about the mess. Like it's just normal. Now, speaking of that, have you so obviously let's get a little bit of background on you real quick with Star Wars, right? Because obviously Lando Ferrando over here, I'm super hardcore nerd. I've seen the movies like 1,000 times. What movies have you seen? All the movies? Have Have you seen them more than once? Have you even seen all the movies?
I've seen the one with Liam Neeson multiple times. Can't tell you what exactly the names of them are, but I can tell you which ones I have seen. I saw Anakin Skywalker where they gave him the gold hand, not the one that's the what's his name, Mark Hamill, but the other one, the young Anakin. And then I
Yeah.
saw that when he got turned into Darth Vader. I saw my favorite character Boba Fett get killed, and not Boba Fett, Jango Fett. And then I saw Boba Fett get killed as well. And all by Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson. He didn't have any snakes on that plane. Chopped his head right off was probably one of the saddest moments ever. And then I have not seen any of the new ones, and I honestly don't know if I want to.
Oh, okay. So it sounds like you're
Resistant to change, yes.
in the Star Wars fandom, right? You sound like a prequelist because it sounds like those are the movies you kind of grew up with. So that's episode 1, The Phantom Menace. That's one that has Darth Maul, the double-bladed lightsaber, and
Yes.
Liam Neeson. Episode 2 is Attack of the Clones, which at the end Anakin gets the golden hand and he's marrying Padme at the end. And
Can I take your hand in golden marriage? Yes.
I'm telling you, dude. So if you heard anything, especially about episode 2, even me, dude, I'm hardcore. The acting it's tough, my friend. Hayden Christensen, and this guy can act, and I know he can act because I've seen other movies he's been in, and there's a movie with him in it. It's called Life as a House. Brilliant acting with him. It's probably the best acting I've ever seen from him. And then he gets in Star Wars and he just turned into a fucking like a piece of fucking wood. And the dialogue, the love story, everything just came across real like stiff and not believable. So,
I like the concept of space, but I think what's really like interesting about Star Wars is also like kind of the moral stories to it all. It all kind of bases around like, you know, the Chancellor, you know, him being like a Sith kind of lord in a way, but in the same sense, like they were trying to help him the whole way. He was just this feeble old man. It turned out to be the most disastrous, monstrous person out there.
all right, so I got it right. So I got to school you, all right? So that's a Palpatine. That's a
Emperor Palpatine, yeah.
He's Emperor. So he's the Emperor from the original trilogy. He is the Dark Lord of the Sith. So it is him who is really controlling everything. So basically, you can view like the first 3 movies that you've seen the most. Some people, it's really the trilogy of the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker. Like, right, you see him as a little boy driving the pods, and then episode 2, you can kind of see some anger in him, and then episode 3 is when he turns into Darth Vader before suit, because he's actually Darth Vader before he's in the black mechanical suit. You know, and then in the original trilogy, it's a story about his son, right, rising, becoming a Jedi, and then Anakin's redemption. So you got the rise, the fall of Anakin, and then you have Anakin's redemption in the original trilogy. That's why, like I said, you put them all together. So, and like I said, even these new movies, dude, they all tie in. So,
I mean, that's how most movies do it, though. Okay, if you want to look at the whole movie concept in general, not just sticking on Star Wars, let's go off into, you know, horror films or any other type of movie. It usually, when they do a sequel or they do something before that, it all swings in and unfolds together. I think that's pretty interesting because, I mean, a lot of good movie concepts come down to the basis of creating a good storyline, something also relatable to experience. Not just like nowadays, all we're seeing is jump scares. It's not really the best. You know, I guess it doesn't really invoke you into the story. Like you're sitting there watching it, like, when's this going to pop out and scare me? When's the time to be scared? Like even a movie like Straight Outta Compton or anything that actually creates a giant storyline to it and makes you kind of feel and connect with each character, where you get more impact if someone dies. You know, I don't know who didn't cry after Darth Vader redeemed himself and then at the ending just fades away. Basically, I mean, just the whole hangar door, everything, just Luke didn't want to leave his dad there even though he's been fighting the whole entire time. Like a movie like that created such a powerful impact, at least for me, where I was like, shit, like you hated him, like you loved him in the beginning, hated him in the middle, and then at the end he freaking redeemed himself, and then it's bam, he's in the pearly gates in my mind.
well, and that's, you know, and that's what I think what people connect with, like with with Star Wars, right? And why it's a phenomenon, you know, and I brought this up on my podcast like several times, especially when I was talking the fandom episode. What other movie universe out there has done this? It's turned into such a fandom, and it's because of just this really simple story. Like you said, just this really simple story at the end of the day. It's about people. It's about family, father, son. You know, it's about rising. It's about failing. It's about learning from failure. You know, and it's about redemption. At the end of it, it's about redemption and how, you know, regardless of all the bad shit you do. And this is so funny, man, because like I can use Star Wars for like real life scenarios, which I talked to for 2.5 hours last week, and I didn't even like
Someone cuts you off into traffic, and you just lightsaber their head off or something.
No, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's redemption, it's family, and I think like everybody out there can just relate to, you know, this real simple story. And obviously, man, before the movies you've watched, the prequels, that's why so many people related to just the original movies. Is you got an 18-year-old kid who just looks at the suns, there's twin suns, and looks at the stars, is completely naive about like everything in life, and then gets pushed into an adventure and has to mature really quickly and start learning about, you know, different things, and he opens up his mind, right? And then he grows, and then like, yeah, man, he learns the biggest bad guy in the world is his father. And you know, he, and his whole mission, once he finds this out, is to, yeah, I want to confront him, but I want to save him, right? I know I can save my dad. And, you know, through and through, he finally did, you know, at the end of Return of the Jedi, when, because he could have struck him down in anger.
Honestly, as a kid watching the movies, I think the most fascinating thing with me was like, what happens if lightsabers were real? You know how much shit you could do 1,000 times? Have you ever thought about this?
Of course I have.
There's so much that could be done. Like, making grilled cheese would be so damn easy if you had a lightsaber. You just wham, and next thing you know, the thing's toasted and it's all good to go. You know, like, you don't even you don't even need to open up doors anymore. You just grab your lightsaber and just cut a hole right in the wall.
Yeah, you locked me out? I don't think so.
I remember seeing Daddy Daycare, and they were using the fake lightsabers, and the dude was acting it out, and then he grabbed the lightsaber and goes, "Ah," and it starts like acting like his hands burning from touching it. I'm like, if that was an actual lightsaber, what would happen? Like, you touch somebody's arm with it, and it just burns right through their arm.
Yeah, because it's pure energy. So like, if it would slice your hand or your arm, you know, it would be completely
Cauterized.
Cauterized. I was trying to say it right, but yeah.
I read a dictionary when I was little. It's okay.
There you go. Yeah, I'm really bad with shit, man. Thank God for spell check.
You want to know how I know such large words? So there's a couple reasons. One, when I used to get in trouble, my teacher used to make me write the dictionary each page. So I would never go to recess. I would just learn the dictionary. And actually, my dad would sit me down at the dinner table and be like, hey, here's a piece of paper. You're going to write down one page from this dictionary, write the definition, write everything down. You're going to do that. And eventually, like, after like a year and a half, I got through like most of a dictionary, where I started finding words like boondoggle and all these things. And then also for Christmas, I got word of the day toilet paper, where I was learning like 80 words in like one shit.
Damn.
I use a lot of toilet paper. I also go to the bathroom a lot. That's a thing a lightsaber could fix. You just freaking wipe with a lightsaber, or next thing you know, you'd probably be in the hospital after that. If you could force a poop out, would that be possible? Just be like, I am not experiencing constipation. And the next thing you know, it's like, bam.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny. The really reason it makes me think of this, like you say, like, yeah, you, instead of, yeah, man, you could just like force your shit out or force your piss out using the force. So we had a question, and I can even ask this to you. And we had a question a couple, like 2-3 weeks ago, was, yeah, kind of similar to the question you asked me earlier, just if you were a Jedi, what color lightsaber would you want? Jedi, can't be Sith. What color lightsaber would you want? And then what would be the one, you can only pick one power that you would want to master above all Jedi powers? And my brother, being my brother, says the power of orgasm, meaning he could just make you orgasm with the Force.
You know, there's an actual disease called it's something with orgasms where like a dude just never stops coming. Like every 10 seconds he's and it just happens. It's a really bad like a brain affliction too. Like imagine like Tom Segura, one of my favorite comedians, has a joke about it. He goes, imagine you're giving like your father's like for when they pass away, like his whole entire like, here's my father, he was a great man. Like, you know how difficult that would be? Like, that would be so sad, but it's like, that's crazy that that's a thing. See, what obsessed me is the human brain and the fact that we're more worried about like other things. Like if you want to turn it into Star Wars, okay? So the lightsaber colors, you're asking me this question, they all mean something. They all mean something. Like it's really the mood. Like green, I guess, represents like peace through force when necessary. It's like Jedi counselors have it. It's like negotiation, meditation, and combat. And the red one's obviously evil and power. Obviously the Sith use it. And then the blue one's supposed to be justice. And then freaking Obi-Wan Kenobi, Samuel Jackson has freaking the purple one, which is like morals, the ones that you can use the light and the dark side. It's more of like an aggressive style. And then if you want to actually expand it out, all right, so for the reason I do know a little bit about this is the concept of I actually tried to make my own lightsaber on this website, and it's like $500 in the end in your cart. And I'm like, do I honestly need this? Probably. But like yellow means intrigue and pursuit. Orange means like negotiation or like trading tactics or something, on the idea that you're supposed to be like a sentinel class, the ones that prefer like stealthy, but also kind of talking it out before you've reduced down to combat. And then there's one that was white. I forgot. White was like, I guess, calm or something. I don't remember if that was that or that light blue one. Then there's a black lightsaber as well. That means like
the dark saber. Yeah.
That's like being obsessed with yourself and all this type of stuff. Like they all have like really deep moral values too. And I'm like, how the hell does all these concepts come out in just something you think of like Star Wars, like may the force be with you? Like, how does that all come from that? Like, that's like some deep interpretation. Like you get a fortune cookie that tells you don't step outside right now. And then you're like, what? And then like a minute later, a meteor falls right in front of the front door. You're like, well, that just saved my life. Like, how was that all out of that?
Well, actually, I'm kind of impressed. You know all the I didn't know some of those details you were talking about with the lightsabers, because the lightsabers and the colors, it actually comes down to the kyber crystals in them. So, and Jedi and Sith have to go and get their kyber crystal for their lightsaber. It's like all part of the Jedi religion and the Sith religion. And like even with Sith, which is kind of cool, which actually just came out recently, that is I say the word canon, and canon means it's actually part of the Star Wars, and it is part of the world. So there's like canon stuff, and there's non-canon. Like I said, Star Wars is like so super crazy, because you can be like, yeah, you can talk about this in Star Wars, but it doesn't exist in Star Wars because it's not canon. So, but the point I'm going to is a Sith's lightsaber. They bleed on into their crystal, so their blood and their anger and their essence is attached to the crystal they put in their lightsaber that has like the dark energy within them. Hence, you know, you get the red blade, you got the blood of the Sith. So yeah, which is super cool. And when you get to the Jedi, now the only ones we see in the movies is like the blue and the green. And yes, relatively, like it seems like the masters and the more experienced Jedis do have the green lightsabers, because like Yoda, Qui-Gon, and then like Obi-Wan, Anakin, they all had like the blue lightsabers. Once again, though, you have to go and get that crystal. It's like all part of your Jedi, being a Jedi. Now,
this all goes under the concept of Jediism. You ever heard of Jediism, the parody religion that is all based on the Jedi concept of Star Wars?
Maybe
you've never heard of this?
Maybe briefly.
Dude, it is popular in the US and the UK. Now, in Texas, in 2005, there was a registered order of the Jedi Order, what they call it, the Temple of the Jedi Order. And it was like they were granted IRS tax exemption in 2015, being a recognized religion. Now, I did a podcast on this, but I never released it. But it was the idea that you had this. There's a type of moral right doing. You obviously you're following the 16 teachings, which are based on like the presentation of like obviously the Jedi you see in Star Wars. But the whole thing is Jedi are mindful for the negative emotions which lead to the dark side. So Jedi are guardians of peace and justice, and they adhere by the 21 maxims. And the 21 maxims are like they're basically the concept of do unto others what you would done to be done to yourself. Don't be a dick. Be nice. That was the whole concept of it. So they believe that you are a Jedi. Like they believe there are people that are Jedi. This doesn't mean running around with a lightsaber, but it means believing in a type of positive energy where it would come back in a good way and also reflect onto someone else.
Okay, so and this is what I'm talking to you. I'm going to tell you like how I can use Star Wars in like my life or in anybody's life. So with me not really having much knowledge about that, but this is how I can relate Star Wars, and that it almost sounds like the same thing, right? So Jedi are selfless. They're selfless and only care about others, and they want to so it's never about attack, right? It's always about defense, helping everybody else, and being selfless. Sith, they're inward. They only think about themselves, and it's all about greed, power, possession, and that's it. So, yeah, so you can take the Jedi as a great example for real life and be like, hey, man, take a look at yourself. Quit looking at yourself, right? Like, look at everybody else. Like, don't be selfish. Like, try, everybody's selfish, but you try not to be selfish and try to be more giving and try to be positive. And like I said, don't just look inward. And
how far do you think we are from like, all right, so let's switch it over to like maybe psychic abilities in a way. Like how far do you think we could actually be mentally, like the whole human race, from like a psychic ability? Because I've talked to people that say it lies dormant inside of us all, and there are people that seem to be more in tune with like, or another frequency of like psychic abilities. I'm not saying there's a thing like you could bend a wall or do those types of things, but I'm like, the concept, if there's people out there that have been known to do extraordinary things, maybe talk to the dead, some type of paranormal stuff, how far is the human race from maybe everyone achieving some type of ability?
yeah, I don't know. See, that's a tough one, right? Because now you're talking like, is it bullshit? Is this John Edward? I don't know if you know who that is. There was a show on, man, 20 years ago, popular TV show where he had an audience and he would go and he would touch someone's hand and he would like talk to their dead relative. And I guess it came out afterwards.
That was fake.
It was all fucking bullshit.
It's like the priest healers, the ones like you will be healed, and then and then they fall down and pass out, and next thing I can see again. It's like, all right, okay, that makes sense, I guess. But I think it's the concept though. Like sometimes, like I'm pretty sure we've all had those moments where it's maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. We should be getting some sleep, but we're just sitting in a room looking at like a pencil on a table, and you're trying to move it with your mind and see if you can kind of. And then like maybe the wind or something moves a little bit. Like, do I have the ability? But I'm like, some dumbass out there is going to be sitting in like a couch or something, then try and get a beer out of the fridge. And next thing you know, it just flies at him like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Not.
Well, remember, man, like, right, our bodies, dude, they're made of lots of energy, right? So, I don't know. Can it move like physical objects? Can the energy? I don't know.
If you could say one innovation for society today, what would you say? Out of everything we have right now, what would you say would be something we need to dive into? Either technology, religious-wise, people-wise, whatever, anything. What could you say?
Like anything?
Anything. Fucking a toilet that has a jet engine in it so it never clogs. I don't know.
Oh, that would be amazing.
You could possibly think of. One thing in society you think that, or the world needs today, I think. Like for me, I would have to say I definitely think we need to understand more about the human capacity of like that's just the brain and the overall stress we get on a daily basis. Like we definitely need to find a way to learn more about the mind because there's too much stuff about it we don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff that we don't understand about like the human mind. You brought it up on some of your podcasts. We talk about like, because I know you talk about like evolution and right and stuff like that. And like, yeah, there's species out there. There's shit in the ocean, man. We have no idea what the fuck is in there, right? Because it's undiscovered. And there's tons of undiscovered stuff out there. So, yeah, and like I said, to say that we are the only like race or organisms or whatever around, man, that's super naive, man, because there is the unknown, right? And there's stuff we can't get past, or we got past Pluto. Like we can't get out of our solar system. We can't see everything in the ocean. We can't discover all the life out there, right? So, I mean, maybe
Someone
maybe stemming on that, that's what we need,
see. Usually, I'm always open minded as possible. And someone brought up this one concept with me in a podcast and said, "Imagine if God isn't just one person." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like he's all of us?" And I was like, "Well, everyone's got a concept that God is just one being." And he goes, "Now think about it. The whole concept of God could be everything." I'm like, that makes sense if you think about the life force and everything. And also, God's known apparently to manifest himself as different things. So maybe Buddha, Gandhi, all these people that people look up religiously to as a god, are they just another form? The ancient like Greeks, mythology, Zeus and all that could change form. They would fall around someone that looked weakless and helpless, and they would see if someone would pick on them and then immediately curse the person. Like an elderly woman with warts all over her face, and then someone treats her wrong. Next thing you know, they're getting blown up or something by a bolt of lightning. That would be Zeus, okay? So what happens if God could be anything, like comes up to you and it's whatever you experience? Maybe it's just all of us are the same thing.
Yeah, maybe it's a fucking fly that flies in your house or a fucking spider and you just fucking squash it in 2 seconds and that was
But do you
God.
think God would know if he was a spider to stay out of my fucking shower when I'm showering?
I don't know, man. I mean, this is the age-old argument, right? It's if there's a God, and why does this happen? Why did 9/11 happen? Why did Pearl Harbor happen?
Because we caused it.
What? Hey, man, like I said, you want to get super serious.
People
Why did I lose
caused it.
why did I lose my child? Right? I mean,
Dude, okay.
Right?
That's so. All right, hang on. We've talked about this before. If you don't mind me asking, what happened exactly?
Okay, no, and like I said, this it's crazy, man. It happened when I was 21, your age. So talk about going through some life shit at an early age and really opening your eyes and really reevaluating your everything. So basically, right, pregnant, blah blah blah. We know something's wrong, but we're not sure. So we had her name was Mara Jadelyn Ferrando, and that's actually a Star Wars. It's actually a Star Wars name. And she came out and she immediately went to Riley Hospital and nobody said shit to us. So all I know is like my daughter was born November 10th, 1999. And she was bolted to Riley Hospital. So I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and it's like one of the best children's hospital like in the whole like country. It's called Riley's Children's Hospital. And so basically, right, left, shot there, and I had to wait in a waiting room for, man, I want to say like 4 hours before I could even like see my daughter, which was like absolutely crazy because we don't know what the fuck's going on. So, we finally get to see her and she's like in this room with like 10 other babies, which is like just like crazy. Like, so I'm 21. And so we find out that my daughter has a genetic disorder called trisomy 13. And I don't know anything about that. So basically what trisomy 13 is, it's when there's an extra chromosome present at conception and it just fucks you up. So basically all your insides, they're basically like reversed and
Now,
It's just all fucked.
this scares the shit out of me because I've watched this video of a doctor when they were talking about late-term abortion and what they do that's been known to actually get stem cells when they tell the parents that the baby had died or had a genetic disorder, and then they would actually send the baby off to labs and they would use the stem cells from the baby. I'm not saying that happened, obviously, but I'm saying I actually just watched this documentary on it, and the guy was talking about, like, in the video, there's a couple interviews with the actual people that were talking about late term abortion, like that are actually involved in the hospital. I don't know their logistics in it, but the whole concept was like there was a Southern guy going, you know, when the mother and the she's known the baby is non-viable. I'm like, you know what constitute a person being a human or a viable human is the board of ethics for humans. So there's a giant thing that considers this is a human baby. Someone labels that shit off, and it's different in China. There's different standards. There's different things. So if a baby is like severely unresponsive, that's it. It's non-viable. Just kill it, basically. That's the whole concept. But what they've been doing is shipping them off in trucks and selling them to highest bidders and things. This has been exposed. This has been before. Australian government, every government has done something like this. They tested radiation on the bones of babies, but told the mother and father, like, oh, the baby could not be resuscitated. It died at birth. But really, the baby lived, and they actually took it. But it had such a huge defect with it, they sent it somewhere. I heard that. I was like, that can't be true. And I ended up doing research into it. Like, I mean, 8 months, they're doing abortions. They're doing these type of things where the baby comes out and it already has a heartbeat. It already has everything. Like, it's already ready. Like, it's viable. But they consider it unviable because it was birthed a little too early. And I was like, hang on a second. What labels it to be alive? Like, the fact that it's breathing should be alive. If it's responsive or not, that's up to the parents to decide if they want to keep it or not. But it's the concept of if something's breathing and living, you can't just label it off as, oh, unviable just because it's not responsive in the brain.
That is completely fucked up. Oh my God.
And that's from, look, you can look that up. That's actually in a podcast with Alex Jones. There's a 4-hour podcast. So I've spent, I think, the past 4 days now literally taking bits and pieces of what Alex Jones has said and listen to it, and it all makes sense. You just have to slowly interpret it. It's very, very difficult because he says a lot of stuff. He talks about his brain going like a river. And I'm not a huge Alex Jones supporter, but a lot of what he said is actually some real shit. You can look up. There's evidence to it, is the ones I find with. They had a Southern doctor go, we take the baby and we tell the mother that the baby's unviable or until the baby had died, and then they have the baby, it's a late-term abortion. The baby's not alive anymore. But it's like, but the baby came out alive. It just wasn't responsive. He was like, yeah, and then, it's up to the doctors and the physicians to say if it is alive or dead. I'm like, so you have a person saying, like, labeling if a person's alive, and then what do people are known to do when money gets involved? They become corrupt. Yeah. A doctor's just going to send that thing off. They have people in trucks, helicopters, because they have a viable window to use that baby for experiments and use it for testing stem cells, all that stuff. The only way you can get stem cells, I'm pretty sure, is off like a fetus or something of that sort, because it's a blank cell. It hasn't experienced anything yet. That's really fucking weird, man.
Talk about a Sith Lord, like corruption.
That's what I'm saying. The government is basically the Sith.
Yeah, like that is completely fucked. Holy fuck. Yeah, man, that's fucking crazy.
I'm trying to think, like, honestly, me and you should start our own freaking not galaxy, but a religious thing. How would we incorporate this? If me and you were gonna start a community right now, how would we do this?
Well, number one, I mean, obviously,
kill off the weak. I can't be picking up slack, okay? You don't pull your weight, you gotta go. Oh, we don't have to kill them, but we gotta airlock them out or something. We gotta just. All right, well, everybody's got an idea when the zombie apocalypse happens. How are we gonna survive?
Oh fuck! So yeah, now you're talking like Walking Dead, World War Z. You're talking.
But we can add some types of inventions that we make from a movie. So if we find out how to make, like, how far are we from laser weapons? Not too far, right?
I wouldn't think so, man.
Nikola Tesla had ideas for a death ray. So to be honest with you, we probably have them.
Yeah, but once again, you're kind of like stemming from our lightsaber like conversation. Could you imagine motherfuckers having like laser guns? Good fuck.
What would they
I
look
mean,
like too?
yeah, I don't know. Like I said,
Honestly, if you could choose laser blaster or a lightsaber, what would you choose? I choose a lightsaber.
lightsaber, like hands down.
Zombie apocalypse, lightsaber is just getting you done. It's just you just stick it out in front of you and just sway it like a police baton, honestly, and just start slamming
Just
zombies in half.
chopping their heads, right? Because obviously we already know in a zombie apocalypse, all you got to do is slice their head off. That's it. That's like across the board.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense when people like hit them in the body. I'm like, you're just wasting time.
Yeah.
Like, I watched a zombie movie where the woman was just hitting the thing in the chest and it just kept coming back. I'm like, just hit it in the head real quick. That's actually, I had a really intense dream about the zombie apocalypse one time. I will never want to experience it ever. I used to have a full on plan, like, you know how awesome it would be? Dude, I had the realest dream possible where I'm like, you know how hard it would be to hit somebody in the head with like a hammer?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't have that killer intent.
Well, okay, so like, once again, I watch too much TV and movies, obviously, but okay, right? But you say that now, right? And I would say the same thing. I was like, man, I can never like hit someone in the head or chop off their head or do this. But what if, just your survival instinct like just clicks on like one of the days and you just can't take it anymore, and you do it for survival, maybe to protect your family, right? Or protect the group of people that you're with that are your family, that are the survivors. And this is what you have to do to survive. And right, I mean, basically you're killing dead people. So at the end of the day, are you really killing?
I don't know, because I feel like if you had a hammer and you went to go hit a zombie in the head, you see the facial features, and then you do like the personification type thing.
Okay,
You look
hold
at the
on.
human characteristics.
Not to interrupt you, but sorry. Have you ever seen the movie or read the book of Mice of Men?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, he's living. Do you take the kill shot, or do you let the fucking motherfuckers take the kill shot? There's your fucking question right there. Your brother, your best brother, whatever. And if you don't do something, he's going to fucking die. Do you take the death? Because, right, it's laid out with the dog. I don't know if anybody knows, but like.
Okay, Old Yeller. All right,
No.
so do I kill the thing, or do I let the thing die slowly?
Yes, but we're talking about a human life here in Of Mice of Men, right? Because
that's a moral right, though, because technically you're putting him out of his misery. You're not going to let him suffer. But you see a zombie in front of you. You go to hit it in the head with a hammer.
Oh, okay. Well, wait a minute, though.
The person's already dead, but...
Oh, you mean to tell me, do we have all these fucking things and these fucking, the wildlife, and we got to save this and save that? You mean to tell me there wouldn't be a group of fucking survivors that are just be like, hey, motherfuckers, you can't kill these things. They're still walking around and living.
Oh, dude, I just saw this. Yeah, I just saw this not even like, I don't even know, like an hour ago when I was in the store getting groceries. I saw fucking animal crackers and got pissed off because the animals aren't behind cages anymore.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about this.
I saw that. I was like, there are people that literally stop that. And this is all about government. Like, it's getting the eyes off the government, okay, whatever. But there are going to be people like, zombies are people too. It's going to be Shaun of the Dead.
There will be people like that. I guess that's what I'm telling you. There will be people like that.
Oh, for sure. I believe that. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be like, hey, he's my friend. All he wants is a hug. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be like that. I'm just going to be like, I know if I have a hammer and there's a zombie coming at me and I'll run up to go hit it in the head, right before it hits the zombie in the head, my body, like where I have the full
You're going to hesitate.
It's going to hesitate and try and pull it back because it's like, hey, wait. It's like when you're hitting a hammer, like a bunch of nails, and you get close to your hand, you go to hit, and then you stop like right before, and it just taps your hand. You're like, oh, that would have been bad. Like, I feel like that's what would happen with me. But then I also know, like, at like 1 o'clock in the morning, if I'm like tired, not in the mood for any bullshit, I would kill so many zombies.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Then Lando comes up behind you, machetes the fucking zombie in the head and says, hey, motherfucker, I just saved your life. And then you got fucking Joe Smith over here. Robbie, come join the love. You wouldn't kill the zombies. Yeah, man.
You have a bite mark in your arm, sir. That looks infected. That looks really infected.
And I'd be like, hey, Robbie, you want to go with them and live among the zombies, or you want to come with me and fucking live and rebuild society? Because we got the fucking brains to do it.
How would you see? My buddy's running for president in 2020, so I'm like, he wants to make America Rourke again. His name's Chris Rourke. Okay. Now he has a community idea of buying just a plot of land and having all his friends live on it. And I'm like, I want to build the irrigation system. Honestly, I would want to go out. I mean, why does everyone try and stick in like a city or try and stick somewhere? Go out into the mountains or something. Go where there's nobody. Go to the desert. You know what happens in the desert? You can fucking see everything coming from miles away. If you see a zombie, you can be like, I'm going to sit down, enjoy this nice Chinese takeout real quick. And as I'm enjoying this, I'm going to watch, as I'm eating my lo mein, I'm going to watch this zombie slowly hurtle across the sands towards me. And he's going to fall down a sand dune. And the next thing you know, he's tumbling and tumbling and tumbling. You're just like, I got hours before you get, I could take a nap.
And that's the thing, man. I mean, you got to think, like, if there was a zombie apocalypse and we lost all power, all electricity, you know, just like these TV shows, you're right. We would go back to a more prehistoric day. Hence, your point, put down the fucking technology shit and get to know people better. We would actually go back to a lifestyle where that's all you had. There's no fucking TV. There's no fucking radio. There's nothing.
Joe Rogan has a bit about it. He says, if the lights go out, what do? You fucking sit there and wait for the lights to come back on. He goes, how long are you going to sit there until you finally figure out, hey, the lights, nobody's coming to turn the lights back on. Then you're going to start hearing weird shit. There are going to be riots, there's going to be people going crazy. Like, if I dropped you in the middle of the woods, how long until you could send me an email? With no technology, just bare nothing. How long until you can send me an email?
Yeah, I'll have to send a fucking courier pigeon. So
exactly. You have to trap a freaking raccoon or something and then get him to run off. And next thing you know, he steps onto the road and gets hit by a car. That message was, this is actually something I want to look up. Imagine back in the day, we're using messenger pigeons. We were using just birds to send messages. We're using them on horseback and all these things. Sometimes they would carry a message and that person would just die and that person would not get the message.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to send Christmas money on the back of Paul Revere's freaking satchel.
It never makes it.
Freaking lost all your gold, everything.
I'm telling you, man, it's every, kind of coming back to like today's society and stuff, man. Like, dude, it seems like people wouldn't know how to live in the society I grew up in the 80s. Like, I think they would go fucking crazy.
Yeah, well, it's the fact we don't know anything else besides what we have now.
No.
So imagine the kids growing up nowadays. They're not going to know what it was like to not have an iPhone 10, to not have these types of things. They don't know what the struggle was like going to the bus stop with like a really shitty music player that only had like a CD in it, or not even that, like just being able to hear music for the first time. Imagine when that was being created.
Yeah, I told you I had a cassette. I had a cassette tape player. So
there's too much stuff out there, but it's like we keep on going forward, but it seems to be the same concept. There's no original stuff.
Okay, but here's the problem, like stemming from it. Okay, so let's say, I'm, whatever, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and I walk to the bus stop as a child and I'm waiting for the bus. Well, guess what I'm doing? I'm talking to the fucking other kids waiting on the fucking bus. I get on the bus. I'm talking to the fucking kids on the bus. That's all I know.
You're interacting.
No, okay, so now you go to the bus stop. What's everybody doing? Everybody's on their fucking phone. Everybody gets on the bus. What's everybody doing? Everybody's face is in their fucking phone. Like you said, nobody's communicating. Nobody's talking to one another. Everybody's in their phone because that's all they know. That's what they know.
I think we should just limit the phone to the bathroom. That's the only place you need it, to be honest with you. I missed 12 calls the other day. Like, people are like, why don't you text back when I text you? I'm like, because you're voice texting, you text faster. And then also you get so many words jumbled up, it does not make sense. Where the point where you have to clear it and then try and speak like you're speaking like over the phone, like for you, doing customer service. And then there is a button on the left. And your phone's like, did you say you would like to go to the crossword section of the puzzle book? And I'm like, where was crossword and puzzle used in that whole sentence? And then your phone's like, don't yell at me. And you're like, whoa, wait, what?
That's why I really like even my brother, man. I mean, my brother's like 10 years younger than me and want to do the podcast with. And dude, I mean, we did the podcast today. We talked for like 2 hours recording and stuff.
Did you mention Robbie Wan Kenobi?
I did not.
Well, how do you not mention the Jedi Master?
I will mention you 100% on next week's episode. I promise. I was waiting for the episode to drop, so
I put it up on the channel, but the Spotify's like it's past 2 hours. Apparently, we've mastered going to Mars and sending Teslas there, but Spotify's like, no, thank you. 2 hours is way too long for a conversation.
Yeah,
it's obviously not knowledgeable for anybody. I'm like, that's the point. Yeah, it's supposed to be a bunch of fun.
Yeah, so it's DVD to Blu-ray, right? I have all the Lord of the Rings extended cuts on DVD. Guess what? They're in 2 fucking DVDs. So halfway through the fucking movie, it says DVD 1 done. Insert DVD number 2. I'm like, fucking what? So
I have to get up now.
So like, no, seriously. So what does guilty? This is what I'm saying, everybody. I know I'm just like, well, we should maybe do this and do this. I'm just as guilty as all you motherfuckers out there. Because guess what this motherfucker did? I digitally bought the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the extended cuts, which they were on sale, and I got a hell of a deal. I think I spent like $20 or $25 on all 3 extended cuts, which is actually a really good deal. So I can just watch the fucking movie and not fucking get up. Guilty.
I had to stop my buddy in the store, like, I think it was like a month ago, because he was getting like a bunch of deodorant. And he's like, dude, it's great deals. I'm like, you have so much of it at home. He's like, yeah, but I'll stock up. And I'm like, you don't need it. He's like, dude, but the deal. I'm like, what about the deal? What do you mean you don't need it? You're just wasting money. But dude, it's 2 for $6. Are you kidding me? That's the best deal for deodorant. And I'm like, what are we doing? You just see the price and the flashy yellow sticker.
All right, so let me give you a little insight here on some like deals. So I told you, like in the podcast, I've worked 2 jobs multiple times, and my first job out of high school actually was at Meijer. I don't know if you have Meijers in Maryland, but they're like Walmarts or Targets or right, they're like those kind of stores. So I worked at Meijer for 3 years, and I actually did the overnight shift for a while. And so I was the one who actually put out the sales ads every week. I went to all the aisles because I worked in stationery and small appliances. So the small appliances were the coffee makers, the VCRs, the TVs, the phones, back when people had phones in their house. And every week I would get these sheets of yellow sale prices. You want to know how much stuff was really on sale out of every fucking thing I tagged? Maybe 4 fucking things out of 100.
Dude,
guess what it does? It just says, hey, buy me.
Exactly.
And it's not on sale.
It's not, because I checked this out in the store the other day. I was like, 2 for $7 for a 4-pack of yogurt. You get 2 of them for $7. That's awesome. Then when it's not on sale, it's like it's $3.56. I'm like, you're paying no, it's not $3. It's like $3.25. I'm like, you're paying the exact same shit. They just put a sticker over it. And I started pointing it out in the store, and the woman's like, look, we can't have you doing this. You're disrupting customers. I'm like, because I'm spouting out your bullshit?
Like I said, dude, that was back. I worked at Meijer from 1996 to 1999. So, right, that's that's been happening forever. And I was like, what? I said, all you're doing is highlighting the price in yellow, bright yellow, mind you. So it sticks out, right? It makes people buy it.
We're living in a programmed world, I think. Not like Matrix type, but I think it's like it's structured pretty freaking like to spend everything. It has a way that it just like funnels you into what they want you to do.
Think about it. I think we're very close to the Matrix. We're all fucking plugged in. Everybody's fucking plugged in.
Technically, yeah, with our phones.
Okay, and technology and society in the world. So yeah, so think about it real quick. So if we were unplugged and freed, just like in the movie, it would probably be a life of back to the Stone Age, where there is no technology, there is nothing, right? Because everybody's fucking plugged into a fucking machine. And that's kind of how it is now. Like, dude, everybody seems plugged into a machine, and we're all fucking programmed a certain way. Like you're trying, like what you're trying to do, man. You're trying to unprogram people, like, and just say, hey, everybody, put down your phone for one fucking day. Try it. Everybody out there, try to put your phone down for one day. Can you do it? I don't even know if I could do it.
I've done it.
Right. So like, yeah, like, and
I just did it 2 days ago, and I was like, holy shit, like, it's kind of cold out. I didn't even notice this. I might as well put on a jacket.
Yeah, put your phone down and fucking talk to people. Like you said, like, look, I went grocery, like I guess I had to run errands today, and it's funny, right? Because I did my grocery shopping, and the cashier they literally every single time, they don't say like 2 words to me half the time. So, and sometimes I'll, I won't say nothing, but sometimes I'll be like, hey, how's it going? To try to start up a conversation, and they're just like, yeah, okay, did you find everything okay? Yeah. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like they're shut off. They're like programmed. And then sometimes you'll get the person that will be like, hey, I like your tattoo. Now there's somebody that, and that's happened to me a couple of weeks ago, where they were just like, hey, I like your tattoo. And I was like, oh, you're in Star Wars? And they were just like, not really. But then we had a whole conversation while she was ringing me up about Star Wars. Like, and that's kind of stuff like you're talking about. It's just like, something, and that, dude, and honestly, that's like something real minute and little, right? Just like getting checked out and maybe having a quick 2-minute, 3-minute conversation with a complete stranger, but you had a conversation.
It's random encounters, but people are afraid of what a random encounter is going to be. I actually just had one earlier before we got into a podcast. I was at the gym. Okay, yeah, I was a gym bro. But I always just sit there.
Six-pack
I was just sitting there chilling, like doing my workout. And this older guy that just started coming, I know when he comes in, I go every day. So I know he was started 2 weeks ago. Okay. He comes in, old man, whatever kind of, he grabs 5-pound weights and he goes like acts like they're like 1,000 pounds. Okay. If that's what I don't mess with it. I don't bother him. It's not none of my problem, none of my capability. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, he's doing a bench press with the dumbbells, and I'm trying to do my leg raises, and he's staring directly at me right in front of me in my space. I'm like, but there's a perfectly good empty bench right over there. And I asked him, hey, man, why don't you just use that one? And then he goes, why would I use that one? I'm like, well, it just makes sense because I'm kind of in the way. I don't want to hit you or anything. It would just make sense. I can get my workout done and get your workout done. We don't do anything. He goes, okay, I'll move over there. And I'm like, all right, cool. Next thing I know, I'm working back out again. And he comes up to me, you got to do that in a nicer way. I'm like, hold on. And I took my headphones out. I was like, what'd you say, man? And he goes, you were kind of a dick. You come, like if, I don't know why you were telling me to go over there. I was like, I just said, it would be easier if you were over there. So we're not like staring at each other awkwardly the whole time we're working out, because you're right in front of me as I'm sitting here working out. And he just goes, yeah, I get it, but you said it in a bad way, man. Like, what do you think? You're a punk teenager? I'm like, dude, I've been coming here every day for 7 years, and anyone here that knows me literally says, like, I don't say a word, and I let people do their thing, and I do my own. Like, I'm just here to get what I need to go and go back home. And he goes, yeah, okay, you think you're big and bad because you work out for 7 years? I'm like, this is why people are afraid to talk nowadays. I'm like, this guy's trying to fight me. He gets up in my face and pushes me. I'm like, well, he didn't like push me hard, but he like went up and like kind of like got up in my face and then put his hand on my shoulder and kind of nudged me back. Well, you think you're big and tough? And I'm like, dude, I know you just hurt your hand by hitting me right in the pec, so I don't give a shit. But I'm looking at him. I'm like, Robbie, you know how after your long ass day, you could easily snap and throw this guy into the ground? And I was like, it's not even worth my time. I tell him, like, if you want to be like that as a person, be like that. But I'm connected pretty damn close to the roots around me. I'm pretty damn connected to everything. I know that when I slam my hand on a table, that's some real pain. That's real shit. Not somebody talking shit on you on Instagram or something. Fuck that. That's fake. That's not problems. So I'm like, what makes you think you can act that way to people? And in my head, I don't understand it, so I will never do it.
Yeah, man, that's, and you bring up a good point, man. And it's crazy. And like this, this gentleman's like older than you, but like you have to be the bigger person in a situation where you shouldn't even have to be the bigger person. Like, and that's what's wrong with like people's thinking. And and then stuff that like, I kind of brought up when we talked last week on the podcast. It is trying to like retool your brain in a way. And what stuff that I do, like I said, I fail miserably all the time, but you try to work on is like, yeah, if something happens like that, to to be the bigger person, and then talk and educate. And like you said, man, it's like, hey, like, why's it got to be like this? Like, I was just, trying to get some space, nothing negative, just trying to, why are you being a jerk right now? Like, let's talk about this like adults now,
We definitely need to reprogram at least people in a way, especially like, first of all, we need to start with ourselves, then maybe work up, like if you're a father, maybe reprogram the family, not like forcing them to act a certain way. Be like, hey, let's try this, maybe incorporate some of this. Like, it's like being a nutritionist. You're not being forceful by telling them you need to eat this, you need to eat that, but like, maybe you should try this, maybe you should cut out that, maybe you should do this types of things. I think if people are going to get to maybe a Jedi state, or maybe have these type of abilities, the key is through nutrition. If you started living like a strict, clean vegetable lifestyle, like not go vegan, like, but that's why in movies, when people are full vegan, they have like some weird ass superpower or some shit where they're like, I'm more in touch to the energy around me. I'm like, is that the way? I don't know, but I know that people act like shit when they eat like shit, because you feel bad about yourself, and we've been known as people to project our anger and our own selfish kind of feelings of ourself onto others.
Okay, so so let me go back to the point, back with this guy, right? So, and another thing you got to think about, and you have to self-reflect on is, because I deal with this in my day-to-day life. I deal with this at home. People interpret like what you say, even if they're in your face, they can interpret it the wrong way. And you don't know that, until like some guy comes back up to you and says, hey, bro, I didn't appreciate the way you talked to me. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, and that's where you have to, once again, that's where you have to self-reflect, and you have to be the Jedi, and you have to be selfless, and you have to say, okay, I know I wasn't a dick, but sir, I'm sorry if I came across like that. That's not what I meant. I just wanted some space, and that's it. No ill will, no nothing. I just figured, and you have to you have to, like I said, you have to do it. And it's all about, and it's about putting him before you. Even though in your head, you're just like, I know I'm not being a dick. I know I'm not wrong here, but, and you're not cowering or bowing or doing whatever. You're actually being a more righteous and positive person. And hopefully by that interaction, it's all about turning people around, right? And I do it all the time in customer service. If I get somebody pissed off because something's not working or they need to return something, my job is to turn this situation around, calm this person down, make it positive, so hopefully they will come back and buy from our company again.
So I just broke one of my own rules of kind of using my phone during a podcast. I actually sent you the video of the guy. I sent you to your phone the video of the guy that picked on me. But not picked on me, but tried to do something. He's laying down face first on the bench with a 2-pound weight, bringing it back behind his arm. I'm like, that's not even an exercise I know about. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Hold on. But this is just Lando over here. So this is so funny that you just sent this to me. I literally said this to my brother today when we were talking on the phone. I said, because something happened, and I was just like, God damn, I wish that was on video. I said, because you know what? We live in a society today. Everybody just all of a sudden is just you want to talk about programmed? Everybody is programmed now.
They forget shit all the time. Like, you said that. No, I didn't. I wish I had something to record that. Right? That's why when I had my little Zoom recorder, this thing I used to start off doing my podcast with, this little sucker right here, this little bad boy, I used to freaking wish I had this in my pocket 24/7 so I would just have it on constant record. Like, I know you said that. I know you did. I know, but we sometimes, it's like the Mandela effect. You forget shit too. It's like, damn, it's like maybe I was in the wrong.
But yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody's programmed to whip out their phone and hit record, right? That is just the program society we live in. That's why, yeah, dude, you can't do anything. Like, okay, I mean, they'll remain anonymous, but like, man, I mean, somebody showed me a video on their phone of some lady who was just standing in front of them at the grocery store, just taking forever or writing a check. And he's just like, look at this fucking person writing a check. Who fucking writes a check? And look how slow she's going. And I'm just like, you videotaped this? He's like, yeah, man. He goes, I thought it was fucked up. I'm just like,
the problem is we live in a world where we think that, we can justify people with maybe a phone recording. Like, even for me, that wasn't cool to record him that way. But it was like, after that experience, I was like, this guy, like, really? And I was just like, but it's the concept of we feel watched all the time and we just want to pull the phone out in case something does happen because people are known to randomly just snap. I mean, half the time you go to the store now, you're literally just trying to rush through, get your stuff done to go back home because if you stayed in it, like, honestly, probably a job nowadays I'd be afraid to get would be a grocery store person, on the concept of you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. You come into conflict with different types of people every single day, and most people are just pissed off trying to get what they need to get done and get out of there. So then you're rushing into people that are getting stuck in line. Next thing you know, you see 50 people in line with one checkout person. Imagine being that cashier. Imagine sitting there and nobody's opening up another lane. Imagine the stress that person has. Imagine they have anxiety issues. Imagine all that.
Yeah, man. I mean, everybody's, I think I brought up on the podcast last week, everybody's in a rush, right? Everything is rush, rush, rush. That is today's society. I can't get through this line in fucking 1 minute. God damn. Yeah, open up another lane. There could be 10 lanes open, but they can't get fucking checked out in 1 fucking minute,
For me, having ADHD, always in a rush, always got to do something right. I don't sleep. That just doesn't happen. I get 1-2 hours, maybe. Everyone's like, when I send a Snapchat or something, like, you look tired. I'm like, I'm always fucking tired. But that's on the concept of my body won't get the sleep because I already have too much energy. So then I talked to my aunt, who's a spiritualist. Okay. She was on my podcast and she was like, you have to think of your spirit animal. And I was like, what? Like, is this some native?
Okay, what is your spirit animal?
She was like, I think your spirit animal is the sloth. I'm like, what? She's like, she goes, what's one animal you used to tell me about all the time you wanted to buy for $6,000? I was like, it was a sloth. I used to tell her all the time I wanted a sloth. She goes, now real quick, think about being a sloth. I'm like, okay. Now she goes, imagine being slow, just slowing down and breathing into the minute. She goes, just calm your breathing and start doing that. I started doing that. And then next thing I know, my brain was thinking on a way better level.
Because you're relaxed.
I'm now slowed down. Even though I'm purposely slowing myself down, I feel like I'm more into the moment. And I feel like too many people nowadays are quick to just hop off onto something else. I'm like, maybe you need to sit outside a little bit longer and you need to enjoy what's happening in front of you.
Right. For my generation, that's the tale of the tortoise and the hare, right? And who wins the race, right? The tortoise, the turtle, and yeah, the rabbit, dude, right? The rabbit can go as fast as it can go, and the turtle's nice and slow. And dude, that's like perfectly said. Like, yeah, man, sometimes you got to be the turtle, and you just got to fucking mellow out, chill out, take things slow. And dude, that's my problem. But once again, man, guilty as charged. When you're talking to people, especially when you get mad, right? You get in arguments with your family, your friends, or whatever. I am guilty every single time. My mouth moves faster than my head, right? And man, if you can, if you can self-recognize this stuff and try to work on it, you got to try to slow your mouth down and process things before you say it. And man, it will help you out tremendously, because then you might not, right, say the wrong thing. Because I'm guilty, man. I am through and through. I'm a low blow guy, right? So if you hit my nerve, my initial instinct is to fucking, and I ain't going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to wait after I've said 4 other insults. No, I'm going for the biggest fucking insult, the biggest fucking thing I can hurt you with, and I'm just going for the fucking jugular right off the fucking bat.
The problem is, we look at everyone as an enemy now instead of looking at their one enemy. We used to always have one enemy: hunger, starvation, all these types of things. Now they're just a list of people now. It's like the FBI's most wanted. We have a list of shit. We have a list of things that are enemies now. Now we're seeing everyone as on that list. I'm like, no, we're all experiencing something, but we need to come down to have a like mind again. We need to become more connected deep within the roots. I mean, the facts that what's one thing, an organism on this planet that does not have a problem?
Yeah, everybody's got a problem. I mean,
Plants don't.
Well, yeah,
Plants don't give
yeah,
two
yeah.
shits.
You don't know that. You know, the pollen can brush off and hit another fucking, flower, and the flower can be like, "Hey, motherfucker, I got your fucking pollen shit all
Actually,
over my face."
that's a legit thing too. You ever heard of plant perception?
See?
There are people that can perceive levels of what plants can give off as what's called emotions. They actually hooked a lie detector test up to it was like a fern or something. And what they did was they grabbed baby shrimp and they boiled them near the plant. And the plant was giving off like a response that it could read that something was dying nearby.
Wow.
And I was like, how did they do that? They used the type of lie detector test stuff and they hooked it up to the plant's leaves and they had this thing happen. But there wasn't, apparently the trials that they did were so the result wasn't the same every time. For an experiment to be like a fact or be a stated thing, it has to have the same result over or like 9 times out of 10. And that thing was like 6 times out of 10. They couldn't keep reproducing the same answer. But I'm like, if I grab a ball and chuck it, okay, I could do it 100 times. It's not going to hit or be thrown the same exact way as I did it the first time. So how could we label as plants not having perception? You know the movie The Happening? Everyone talks shit on that movie by
Is that
M. Night Shyamalan movie.
where
Where the dude smells like grass, and next thing you know, he lays in front of a lawnmower and gets murders people just killing themselves because the plants decided they had enough of people.
That might be the one M. Night Shyamalan movie I've not seen. I think I've pretty much seen the rest of them.
Dude, it was nuts. It had Marky Mark in it.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one.
Well, it makes sense. Okay, what happens is all these people just randomly start dying. They start having this type of brain chemical messed up or whatever, and it's in the air. These plants are giving off a certain pheromone in the air that are killing people, making them commit suicide.
Oh, I have seen this.
Okay.
I've watched it once, but okay. Yeah.
People talk shit that that's a bullshit concept, but if plants have known to be giving off emotional response, known to have triggers, known that plants can talk to each other through a systematic thing with their roots, much like our nervous system. There's a type of a plant, if an insect's eating its leaves, it can change the taste of its leaves and let others in the area, other plants of the same species, know that, hey, change your leaf color and then kill this plant with this poison or make it not tasteful for this insect to have. If that's been known to happen, what's to say one day, your freaking whatever flower outside your house is like, you know what, you fucking not watered me for the last time today. And honestly, when you get in your car, you're going to drive right into your wall. There's so much stuff that we don't understand yet. This is why I tell people, be as open-minded as possible. Do I believe it? No. But I'm saying, is it a possibility? Probably. There's probably a bunch of stuff out there. There's probably people talk about, all right, so Alex Jones also said this. He talked about people being what's known as aliens being reptiles. Talks about them being people. Now, I understand that there are people out there, things that we don't understand. That's what they call alien, is things we don't understand, things we don't have a concept of knowing yet. There are a shit ton of things about people we don't understand. So technically, are we all alien?
That's a good question.
You have to dive into every specific thing we have and then just look at it in a different way. Take it piece by piece, like a puzzle. You have to put all the pieces together to build up a picture. So when we're looking at just the big picture, let's start taking away the puzzle pieces and find out what makes the bitch click. You know what I mean? What makes it roll?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. There's an old movie, What They Live. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. And the only way you can see the aliens is if you put the glasses on. It's really good. It's a John Carpenter movie, I believe. And it's got the famous fight scene with the Roddy Piper, the old 80s wrestler. I can't think of the other actor's name, but they actually did a shot-for-shot remake on South Park with Jimmy and Timmy, the wheelchair kid and the crippled kid, shot for shot from that movie. Look at the underworld.
There would never be a cartoon again that can do that. South Park
No,
made it
no.
before that was all a giant
No.
stigmatized thing.
It's crazy, man. I was just talking about this the other day. It's just like, I had like Ren and Stimpy. Like that was like the edgy thing. And then Beavis and Butthead came out. And then that was like the edgy thing. And then fucking South Park came out and just fucking blew it all away. Because they were right on the edge. You talked about Dave Chappelle multiple times on your podcast and his new special. Loved it, by the way. Loved it.
Amazing.
Look, comedy and this is for anything, even my fucking podcast. I mean, it's the material that's put out there, it's all, people like different things and people like different material. So, not everybody's gonna love it, but then you go into the thing where it's just like, oh, he was too fucking edgy because he said this and he said that. He's a fucking comedian. He's fucking trying to make people laugh. Yeah, he's talking about like some real life stuff, but he's a fucking comedian. Dude, making people laugh, entertaining people.
So I just thought of a theory, and you just inspired this into my head, okay? Now listen to this. We're all disconnected, okay? We're all a little bit kind of living our own lives, all right? So if you look at if two people are in a room together, so let's say two women, if they're known, all right, it's going to be a weird, you got to stay with me on this. They're known that their periods can sync up after a while of being connected together. What's to say if two people get into a conversation, just like how me and you are having right now, about maybe a little while into it, we start getting on the same wavelength frequency, our same mind thinking thing. So our brain waves are kind of synced together now. So now our conversations kind of tangent off each other and they go into perfect kind of sync together. Now, people are disconnected. They're on their own brain frequency, their own wavelength. They created their own, much like you create your own network with your Wi-Fi. So now you're on your own thing. Let's call it Lando, Ferrando, Expando. That's your Wi-Fi network, okay? Now we're tapped in and now we create it together and we're on the same thing. We change the name, whatever you want to call it now. Now, imagine if people just decided to connect back into society again, much like you experience a comedy special or a live thing, watching a movie, okay, on a giant screen in the movie theater. Everyone laughs at the same exact scenes. Everyone laughs at moments they know to laugh. Now, is that built up from the movie? Sometimes. But is everyone experiencing the same frequency level where they act exactly the same again? They act like one another, but see, now we're all on our own different signals. We're not connected anymore. So is everything just deep down maybe the correct way for humans just to be connected again? I'm not talking about just isolating from technology, but conversation. It doesn't, for me, I have my own type of thinking, obviously, but I've also am able to connect with everyone. There's not one podcast I have. Maybe it starts off in an argument, but eventually that brain frequency gets linked together and then it becomes a conversation.
Yeah, and that's not always easy to do, right? Because you're right. You are not going to connect on the same level with every single person you talk to. And every single person is not going to be on the same wavelength that you're on. But like you said, it's actually getting to know a different wavelength, a different kind of person that's different from yourself, right? Because once again, I keep going back to like self-reflection, right? And it's just like, well, this person's different. This person doesn't think like me. And you put up that defense wall or, you're scared or whatever. It's like you said, it's opening yourself up to a different wavelength of personalities, of opinions. Dude, right? What did it say? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one,
yeah.
Right? And, but it's being open to the idea. You make a good point. Like we could sit here for what we going on? Cause I got it time tonight. We're at an hour and 14 minutes and we could have fucking we could have disagreed on every single topic we've discussed since the beginning, but
eventually we will lead to the same answers on stuff because after a while we start picking up. Same reason why even if a kid is adopted and he's in another environment, two parents that aren't his, he picks up their things. He picks up their environmental influence. He starts liking things the one dad likes. He starts liking things the mom likes. He starts wanting to do things like maybe write music if he's in a house of musicians, even though his whole family, his blood family, has never been into music at all. They actually hate music. It's the idea you pick up things around you. You pick ways to
Absolutely.
act and perform. So is that you getting on the same frequency as everybody, or is it you just going to the norm?
I think that comes down to just like human behavior, to be honest with you. And I think it's just our natural tendencies as human beings to, when we get comfortable around somebody, once again, see, I think I chalk that up to, like, if me and you started hanging, like if I lived in Maryland or you lived in Indiana and we started hanging out and we fucking, went to the movies and we fucking went, to the bar or, whatever fuck. When we started hanging out all the time, you would probably maybe start saying some words that you didn't say before. You might start saying, man, that's fucking awesome. I say awesome a lot. Or I say
awesome.
Or I say that's wicked. People say that's wicked. I think that's an East Coast thing. But like you might start saying, hey man, that's wicked. And you'd be like, oh man. And then like one day you're gonna be like, I think Mike says that all the time.
It's like picking up an accent. Like if you
Yeah.
go to a place and you start talking like them, like if you're from Baltimore, people that are in Baltimore, they say Baltimore.
Yes. And I've
Baltimore.
experienced this, dude, because I grew up in Massachusetts. I moved to Indiana, East Coast to a more Midwest state. So when I moved here, everybody said I sounded weird, right? And don't get me wrong, I lived in Southern Mass, so I didn't have the thick ka and chada. I didn't have that real thick accent, but I still had an East Coast accent, and my slang, all of my slang was different from Indiana. So when I came here, I was just like, man, that's dope. And this is this. And remember, mind you, this is like 1991. People weren't saying this is dope.
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Yeah, there you go. I mean, so it's funny because trends and slang words, look, and this is the God's honest truth. They're West and they're East, and then they move inward to the Midwest. So the Midwest crowd is the last people to get the newest and latest slang or whatever. And I had to deal with people going, man, you sound weird, or you do this and you do that. And I'm just like, oh, you want a sack? No, I want a bag for my fucking groceries. I don't want a sack. I hit the sack, and oh, you want a sucker? What's a sucker? You're a fucking sucker.
Sucker's a lollipop.
A lollipop. Thank you. So, and it's things like that.
I had grandparents. I know what a sucker is.
Oh my God, dude. Tennis shoes fucking drives me. Look, and I apologize for any
what do you mean tennis shoes? Tennis, like
this must be an Indiana thing or Midwest thing, and I guess I apologize for all the Midwest listeners out there. But I am originally from the East Coast, but like this really is aggravating, man. Everybody says tennis shoes for everything.
That's what a lot of people say here too.
Oh my God!
Why don't you say shoes?
I grew up saying sneakers. Because look, man, sneakers is like your Nikes and this and that. Shoes is what you fucking wear to like church or whatever, like dress shoes. Those are shoes.
My Vans are shoes.
Oh my God, dude. Those are like skater sneakers. They're not fucking shoes.
Why are you're making it more difficult? It's like when
I'm not making it difficult.
It's like when people say www, that's not faster. That's slower. It's World Wide Web. That's way faster than www. There's more syllables. Why are you going to add more shit? That's like when you made math and you decided like to be Pythagorean and make the Pythagorean theorem with like a squared minus xy2. It's like, what the hell? Just stick 2 plus 2. It works. I have 2 bricks. I lost 2 bricks. I have no bricks now. Now I'm going to grab your brick and beat you upside the head with it. You're putting triangles and letters. Dude, that is the Sith Lord. Whoever put letters in freaking math.
I'm terrible at math.
Why does x squared equal y over the third power? What the fuck is this shit?
So all you listeners, all the listeners out there, look like Lando over here. When I was in high school, my math credits to graduate high school is I did pre-algebra, which I did pass. 2 semesters of algebra failed, and I got a general math credit to help me graduate, to get my math credit in. So, I mean, I never did geometry. I could never do any of that stuff. Dude, now, like what my kids had to go through, they had to go through algebra, geometry, trigonometry, and all this. Like, school is so much harder today. Like, serious.
You know what really scares me? Well, not really scares me, but one thing I've never really understood. I took math freshman year, failed it, then had to take it again sophomore year. Then I passed it, and then I took geometry, and then I didn't get math for basically 3 years. And at the ending, they're like, "You're missing 4 math credits." I was like, "What do I do?" And they're like, "Well, there's nothing you can do because one credit is basically 1 semester, and you only have like a semester left." I was like, "So how do we fix this?" Like, "We're just gonna put you in this one class called credit recovery." I'm like, "Okay, what does that mean?" Basically, you just sit in this room, and then you kind of do your work, and then that's it. I'm like, "Okay, cool." It's ISS basically.
Oh, fuck.
So I actually had the coolest ISS. They called it alternative education, so you don't feel like an asshole or a dumbass. And I'm sitting in there. It's just me and like the bad kids that got thrown out of class. And I'm sitting there like, I'm in this class like as a student. These kids are in here as like a punishment.
A punishment.
And I'm looking at my teacher. I had 2 teachers in that class. There was one desk off to the corner of the left, and there was one in the corner right. And they would just – it was a small-ass room. It was literally like maybe the size of just an average bedroom. It wasn't a classroom. And I'm sitting there, and all these deskers pointing forward at the thing, and they're like, "Hey, Rob, what do you want to do?" All right, so there was Mr. Riley. He was a Walking Dead fanatic, and every Sunday or on Monday when I came into class, he'd be like, "Rob, did you see Walking Dead?" I'm like, "Dude, I did see it." And then we just watched Talking Dead on his computer in class. He would go, "Rob, do you feel like going to the bathroom?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm good." And he's like, "You're just sitting there." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Why don't you guys just take a walk?" I'm like, "Take a walk?" He's like, "Yeah, don't come back." What is it now? It's like 11:30. Class is over at 12:15. Just, go kill time. I'm like, "Okay." I would just go to the gym class next door and just play around in that class. The gym teacher's like, "You're not supposed to be in this class." I'm like, "Yeah, well, my teacher said I could just, chill."
My teacher said I could just walk around.
Literally, because he's dealing with actual kids that are like bad. I would just sit there on my phone. I would just sit there and just go Amazon. I would start doing research. I would start doing knowledge. So I was like, "Can you give me a book to read?" And he's like, "Rob, just all you have to do is show up, dude, and you get an A." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Literally, man, like you're not in here like the other kids are in here. You're in here because the school messed up. The school cheated you out. That's been my whole life. The school system gave me shit. I don't even have medical insurance.
Ooh, you need that, brother.
No, I don't. Bro, I had a bad experience. All right, so 3 years ago, John Hopkins, that wonderful hospital, okay? I'm shouting them out right now. They took 17 vials of my blood. Guess what happened? They lost all 17 fucking vials. I swear to God, I will send you a picture tonight of the fucking lawsuit that they sent me that I could sue John Hopkins on. Now, this was 3 years ago. I waited 8 months for John Hopkins to send those results over to my actual doctor down here. They never did. Now we still don't have the results. I got a letter in the mail from an attorney office that said I can sue for malpractice. I ripped it up, threw it in there, and I said, "I'm done with it. I want to end it all now. I don't want to keep talking to them."
Yeah.
I just got 2 weeks ago another letter in the mail saying, "This is your second notice. Please respond. This is the last one we're sending, and it's an immediate legal action." And I said, "What is happening? Are they going to charge me for something that I never got the results on?" So I call the lawyer all pissed off. Like, "Who is this number calling me, man? I don't want to have to pay bills that I didn't even get my results for. That's stupid." And they go, "You are part of 650 recognized cases where the doctor put you through medical testing that was not supposed to happen. He did that just to run up your insurance bill and run up your pocket money." I said, "What?" They go, "You're just one of 650 cases in this year. That doctor has lost all credit, lost everything." And I'm like, "So what do you want me to do?" "Well, we want to let you know we can get you money. You can sue them and you can get them." And I said, "I'm sorry, don't call again." Hang up. I'm done with it. Get it out of my life. I don't need it anymore.
All right, but hear me out. Hear me out. Right?
One guy going against John Hopkins, who's going to win? Come on.
Hear me out. Listen, listen to the voice of reason over here. Listen to Lando for a little bit, a little older, right? So I'm going to use like an old expression, right? This one bad apple ruined the bunch, right? Okay, so you had one bad experience. And dude, we can chalk this up to anything. Going to the doctor, doing anything in life. Just because you've had one bad experience, man, it can't leave a negative impact on your life with that situation, because
I think it does.
No, because you got to go through it. You learn from it and you grow from it. And you like I said, and dude, you you got to go to you got to have medical insurance. Trust me.
Well, if I get hurt, obviously I'm going to need it. But like at the same time, it's like now it's just not even a priority anymore. I'm like, what? Am I just going to hop in and the next thing I get over, like it's going to happen again? I've had multiple doctors that have messed up, not just one. I've had multiple. It seems like I'm the guy that keeps going through the system, like going through the cracks. I've always.
So you're the bad luck guy. Look, man, I deal with this in my job, right? So like somebody buys a refrigerator, like where I work, right? And it doesn't work after a week, right? So I do a return with them. We send them a new one, the same one, mind you. You know, it's new, but it's the same brand, same model. And then that one stops working like 3 weeks later, right? So this motherfucker's had 2 bad experiences in a row. I got to deal with it, and I got to deal with somebody just like you said. This happened to me multiple times. Da, 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 blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, hey, man, that's all right. Let's try to fix this, right? Let's get you into a different brand. It's more expensive, but you know what? Because of your bad experiences, we're going to help you out. Maybe we're going to finagle some pricing or this or that. And, you know, bad comparison to like medical stuff, but still a little bit of the same comparison. Even though you get wronged over and over again, you still got to go back out there, my friend. And because, dude, you're going to have a good experience. Dude, you're going to go to the doctor like me. Like you saw, I'm older, right? I mean, I got to get I do my physical every year. I get my blood drawn every year. And yeah, thank you. Because you know why? Like a couple years ago, they were like, hey, Lando, you know, you got high cholesterol, or, you know, you have this, you need to change maybe a few things. You're vitamin D deficient. You're this. Okay. All right. So what's Lando do? I think I told you, dude, I exercise. Dude, I've been exercising religiously for 2.5 years. You know what I did? I cut out Dunkin' Donuts. I cut out eating Hostess cupcakes, Twinkies. I don't snack. I snacked on all that shit. I don't snack on that shit anymore. I made a choice to change my lifestyle, to exercise, to eat a little bit more. And granted, I'm not the healthiest eater, but I eat more healthy. And it's because I went to the fucking doctor and I got blood work drawn, and they told me, they were like, hey man, here's your levels. Here's how healthy you are. It's up to you.
Dude,
you know?
they see through all the bullshit too. Doctors do, in a way. They have a lot of power when it comes to, if you tell them like, oh, I don't eat that anymore. And like, I can see it in your fucking blood. You have bacon chunks in your blood. Don't tell me you're not eating bacon anymore. Like, what? Like you can go down deep. Like that's how they get down to deep genetics and stuff. I found out I'm 3% Nigerian, and I'm like, technically we all came from Africa, because Africa used to be united into Pangea. So first of all the continents breaking off and doing all that, and that's how they magically, if you take all the continents, they can be basically puzzled right into each other. Like it's that whole concept. Like is like, come on, like we're all very, 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 very connected in our deepest, like in our blood somewhere. It's locked that we all have one trait that unites us all. And I think that is connectivity. I think that one trait is human nature's willingness to care. And I hold that so damn tight, because I know that's the faith you need to get through. You need to know that if you get put in a really bad physical state, like your body goes into the point of shutdown. Let's say let's say a brick fell on your head from like 5 stories. Next thing you know, you're in severe pain. Your brain's about to shut down. What's the first thing that happens to your body? It starts looking for help. It starts looking for a way to fix itself. It looks for people. Okay. I think more people need to get hit in the fucking head with a brick then, because you need to start finding that in people. You need to start looking towards them. Like people shouldn't, it shouldn't be the concept nowadays, like it is for me, where people are unfucking reliable. There's someone you just do it yourself. It's best. I'll just get it done myself. I shouldn't even ask anybody. That's what I've lived my life by. And it's like, that's a terrible way to do it, because I know if someone came to me and they desperately needed it, I'd be damn well sure I'm there, even if I hate the person. It's the concept of, shouldn't be put in a critical state to see what the moral or the most right thing in our heart is to do.
Right. And that's pretty much what happens, right? It's like something really fucking bad has to happen in order for people to, right, like, yeah, like have your back or you know, or to support you at that moment. It's always got to be something really, really fucking bad that happens. Or, like my best friend's, let's just say my best friend's like father dies, or, and I haven't talked to him or done anything with him 2 months, but I'm going to be there. Like, no, man, I should have like picked up the phone or whatever and said, hey man, let's hang out or let's do this. It shouldn't take something bad to bring people together. I mean, you said it nicely, dude. It's like 9/11, all the conspiracies and stuff. It's just like bringing the country together. Yeah, something really fucked up and terrible had to happen for everybody to come together. No, man, we shouldn't need a fucking 5,000 people dying for the fucking country to fucking unite. No, we should want to unite.
As a nation, we have to go and this is like as like a people, as a community, we had to go into a critical shock to actually be a community. It's like we're supposed to be around each other 24/7. It's like, what the hell, guys? Like, you need to focus on like stuff. You need to highlight the funny features about life. The fact that I have maybe dumb luck when it comes to medical, but I also have the best luck when it comes to fucking dumbass carnival games that are never going to get me anywhere in life.
They're rigged.
I swear to God, dude, I win every time I go to a claw machine. I win every time. I don't know what it is.
You're the only one.
Yeah, exactly. My buddy goes, here's $5, dude. Go do it. I have a picture I will send you. I swear to God right now.
Please.
I'm going to. No, because
you know what happens to me? The fucking thing slips through every fucking time.
No, the thing is, now they actually have it rigged to the point where like now the claw only opens up halfway and then it just kind of gives you that dumb.
Well, look, before, I mean, I've seen multiple versions of it. Obviously, like when I was a kid in the 80s, dude, we had fucking arcades with fucking games in them and shit. And like back in the day, the claw machine, they actually had like grips on the edges, right? So you could actually grip something and win something a lot easier. A lot of them, they don't have the grips, right? And they're all just like whatever, stainless steel, whatever it is, all the way down with no grips on the claw. Hence, it just slips right through. A lot harder to grab something. So,
it's crazy because like I always like I this is why I have to look for these pictures to send you, because every time I say something and someone loses, that can't be true. That's got to be like a joke. I'm like, it's real shit. I swear to God, I'm looking for it right now, but I'm telling you, I went to the boardwalk with my dad. He gives me $5 and he goes, all right, just go. Because my aunt works at Fun City, which is like an arcade game place. So she just opens it up, Mortal Kombat, just holds down the quarter thing. Awesome. Next thing you know, I'm playing all day. So she goes, like my dad goes, let's not bother her. So let's just go on to, let's just go. I'll let you, whatever. Go play a claw machine. Here's $5. So I actually have this picture I'm sending you right now. But my dad gave me $5, not expecting me to win anything. I won every time I put the quarters in the machine. I got 2 stuffed animals out of it. 3. I was going ham. My buddy knows religiously to give me $10 when we go to the boardwalk. He goes, win me some shit. I just come back with a claw machine, anything. I win all that. I won a laptop off of the Stackers game. The Stackers game.
Yeah. Fucking Pikachu and
Squirtle.
Okay.
2 stuffed animals from Pokemon, all from a claw machine. My dad's like, how do you do that? I'm like, look, I just, it happens.
And those look pretty fucking big too.
I've won backpacks. I have a little tiny laptop. I'll send you a picture of too. I won it from a Stackers game. I was at a campground. I was like, Dad, look what I just won. He goes, what? The Stackers game. I just wasn't even trying. I just did it and it happened. He goes, what? And we go to the camp store to redeem it. And you know what the guy said? He said, we don't carry these here. I'm like, what do you mean you don't carry these here? These are the certificate. We had to take a picture of them holding it so we had evidence. But the guy, I didn't get it until a month later. The guy had to go to his like warehouse and pull it out because he's like, nobody ever wins these things. Like, just keep it on the down low. I'm like, fuck you. I'm telling everyone.
On the down low. Purposely telling you, like, yeah, no one is supposed to win this.
Well, with that dumb tangent, listen to this. It's all programmed. Everything is programmed to set you up. It's like the claw machines, they set you up to fail. Everything is a fucking programmed thing. We're living in a programmed world. Let's hop off that shit.
So Ravi, once again, I was an 80s kid. We had arcades. My parents give me $20, right? You play fucking arcades. Look, every fucking arcade game was made for you to fail, to keep pumping in the fucking quarters because you wanted to get past level 1. And the only way to do that was to keep fucking pumping in the quarters because those games were fucking so hard on purpose.
But they're addicting.
Oh, fucking, they were amazing.
That's what I tell people. Like, I took addiction counseling at first, and I was like, you got to see it from their perspective. It's like when you go to a video game place, like an arcade or something, and you're putting in quarters and quarter after quarter after quarter. Next, thing you know, it's all gone. You couldn't stop. You just kept on going because you get addicted to things. Obviously, there are some people that just walk away. I played the lottery, the casino. Okay, I have my buddies work there. They go, you want to go out to the casino? I gave my buddy Alan, who was on my first season, shit because he goes, man, I'm down in the freaking casino right now, man. I lost $1,000 yesterday. I'm like, you lost $1,000? He goes, yeah, but he has money to spend. Then 3 weeks later, he won a Mercedes Benz. What? But then he ended up going broke because he should have took the cash. He had to pay car insurance and all these car fees. He was like, I should have. He ended up selling the car 6 months later, and I've talked about it before. But I told him, I was like, I'm that guy that went to a casino once with my cousin. I lost $5. I never went back, and I have not back been. It's been almost a year now. Because I know once I start going and feeding into it, I'll get sucked into it. The only thing I took was they had a ticket voucher. I took it out, and it said 69 cents, and I kept it, and it's hanging on my wall right now. It's hanging on my wall. I swear to you, man.
I mean, you want to talk about like anxiety? Because look, I went to Vegas several years ago, and we have a casino here that's about, I don't know, maybe an hour away from me, but everything's electronic. The only thing that's real in the casino is the roulette ball that goes around, but everything is electronic. But like back to like just gambling, and you want to talk about me and just my anxiety and just like, losing money that I've earned and stuff just gives me such like anxiety, and like it's hard for me to gamble. Like, so I'll every once in a blue moon, I'll go to the casino, with my wife or whatever, and we'd be like, I got 50, you got 50. When it's gone, if it's gone in 5 minutes, it's gone in 5 minutes. We're fucking leaving. If we're there half an hour, they're half an hour, and like, just my anxiety gets the better of me, and of course I always lose, and I walk out, and I'm just like, God damn it, that's like $50 I could have spent like on fucking anything else, And, I'm just like, oh my God. And like, when I'm doing it, I'm fucking nervous. I'm fucking like shaking. And I'm just like, gambling's not for me, man. It's just not.
I'm going to bring it back to what you said in the very beginning when you said that the Jedi mind trick only works on the weak-minded.
Yeah.
We're all weak-minded, technically. The people nowadays, if you had the Jedi mind control power, you could easily control everyone.
Yeah, I control the roulette ball to go in the fucking red so it lands on. Because, dude, I don't do the nut. Yeah, I'm like, give me a 50-50 shot.
But the fact is, you can't step away from a machine yourself.
No.
You have to have someone grab you, another voice come into your life. And this is why we look for opinions on stuff that's going on in our own life, even though we shouldn't be following what some people think because they don't know what you're experiencing. Mind control as a Jedi, that power would work everywhere today on everyone because we don't have that other perspective. We're not open-minded. This is what I tell people. Go out. I'm not talking about conversate with people in your community because then you're going to start thinking like your community. Conversate with every community, every single one. New Year's Day, I had a podcast with my teacher that restored my faith in the education system because she never gave up on me and she came here. And you know what she gave me as a piece to remember her by? This damn mug that I'm freaking drinking out of right now. Now, she did just accidentally leave it, but she was like, keep it because she didn't feel like coming back. I steered her away. But no, I'm saying you need that connectivity to push you out there. You need that thing to grab you when you're going in too deep. You need that second hand. You need that person to help you pull you out of your own thing. But you can't be relying on that person. But who's to say that you can't rely on the faith of humanity? That concept I want to bring back is the faith of humanity, that people don't, like, we all walk around being sucky. We all suck on an everyday basis, but we have an aspiration to become great, but we choose to let that slide under the carpet because it's too damn difficult or doesn't go process into our mind because helping another person is not seen as in your best interest. Why isn't it in my best interest? Let's make it my best interest.
Because we're all fucking selfish. There's your fucking answer.
But, dude, I'm only 21, so my brain's doesn't understand shit.
Yeah. So, it's funny, like you say that, and like, now going back to Star Wars, right? So, if you're on the light side, which is the Jedi, now the dark side, that's the Sith. And like in the movies and the storyline, once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. And then what I'm saying is, and because that's what the Jedi kind of preach, because they don't want you to go dark. But, and, you know, just kind of going back to the movies and the positive message is, once again, Luke Skywalker, and then his father, Darth Vader, which went to darkness. He was at rock bottom. There was no, like, right? He couldn't get redeemed. But Luke came along, right? And redeemed him at the end of the day, pulled him out of the darkness and back into the light, just like your teacher, right? So, like, yeah, you were kind of like in the dark, right? And you had somebody come along, pull you out of the darkness and into the light. I mean, and like I said, you can relate that to Star Wars. And once again, that's why people connect to this movie and to the positive message, and you can relate this to real life.
The problem is, I think more people need to understand that it doesn't stay like shit forever unless you choose to let it stay like shit. Now people hit rock bottom and there's nothing that ever pulls them out because they choose not to look for it and they choose the easiest route out, which is just ending it all.
Well, let me add this real quickly. And to my point, like, just because you got pulled out of the darkness, that don't mean shit, right? Because she leaves. Right? Yeah, she came on, you know, she like helped you and did her due diligence and did her thing and made you see something differently to change your life. But she leaves. And she leaves her mug too. Right? And who has to keep themselves, you know, who has to really get themselves out of the darkness? Dude, you. Like, you have to do it. You have to put the work in. Yeah, you got a little nudge and you got a little, you know, a little spark through somebody, but then you ultimately have to put the work in. That's anything in life. You have to put the work in.
Well, that's why there's that concept, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
There you go. It's right. You've mentioned it before, dude. I love Rocky. Yeah, you get knocked down. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. It's a matter how many times you fucking get up.
I've quoted that so many times.
Dude, I love Rocky. So, I mean.
Adrian!
Hey, yo.
Someone hit him in the head with a brick pretty fucking hard.
Yo, Paulo. Yeah.
I feel bad that everyone makes fun of him like that, but maybe he had like a stroke and he just doesn't even know it. If you think about it, come on now.
I think he's brilliant, man. Dude, he wrote the Rocky movies, like him by himself. I mean, that's all him. That's all Sylvester Stallone and the Expendable movies. So, I mean, the guy's talented. Dude, can you sit down and write a fucking movie script and then put it on the big screen and it be super? Not everybody can fucking write movie scripts and shit.
I could probably write a good couple episodes to Family Guy. The stuff I think about on a everyday basis, I could easily write half that shit.
Which is funny. You're probably gonna think this is crazy. Like, yeah, I don't watch Family Guy. I've seen it a few times, but I just never got into it. Which is crazy because they do Star Wars stuff on it.
It's quick one-liners. I love. You gotta see the Family Guy Star Wars edition. Was probably
that's
the
what I'm saying. Everybody's like, you haven't seen that? I was like, nah, I'm just not in the. My brother, he's not into The Simpsons. People, you don't like The Simpsons? Nah, man.
I prefer The Simpsons over the Family Guy. I like a lot older stuff because I see a lot more story basis to it rather than where it just fades off into the new stuff.
Dude, and okay, so going back, I don't know, so, you know, we go on all these tangents, which is awesome, but going back to like the horror movies and the movie genre just in general, dude, there's no more original ideas out there for movies, for horror movies. You're like you said, all horror movies are jump scares. Yeah, because there's no original ideas anymore, right? I mean, dude, the last Halloween movie, like, dude, I went to the movie theater. It was your hack and slash Halloween, which is cool. I love the nostalgia. Got to see Michael Myers kill like 10 people, and then they think they kill him at the end. The movie's over. Every fucking horror film in a fucking nutshell. Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, right? So it was cool. It wasn't original, right?
If you had to live your life any way from a Star Wars movie, who would you choose to structure, or how would you choose to structure your life? I would tell you right now, I'd isolate myself off to like maybe a desert planet or somewhere out in the forest with just a couple of robots, maybe an Ewok or so, and just chill, dude. I would honestly be like, I'm going to go spend my time connecting to things around me rather than go and experience where people just don't want to connect.
So you want to be Yoda, right? Because in the movies, right, Yoda isolates himself.
Yeah, but I don't want to die an old guy in a freaking little swamp monster thing, and then when I die, nobody knows it happened.
Yeah. So I would be more on, like I said, dude, I love Luke Skywalker. He's like my favorite Star Wars character. And this is kind of even stemming like from my when I got asked that question, what one force power would you want to master? And yeah, it wasn't the force push, it wasn't mind reading, it wasn't not mine. I said, no, man, the force power I would want to master would be to able to come back spiritually as a force ghost, which happens in which Obi-Wan comes back, Yoda comes back as a force ghost.
Dewey Cox used that reference too.
So, and the whole point is, and my reasoning was, so I can come back and still help the new generation of Jedis if need be. So, because when the force ghosts pop in, they're always there to help and guide, right? And they're not truly dead. So technically, you live forever, and you can manifest yourself using the force and present yourself as a force spirit to guide and help. And dude, that's eternal, and that's pretty fucking cool. So I would absolutely want to master that power.
I need to figure out how to get the ending result of wisdom from when you hit your elderly ages. Like Dewey Cox, you talk about a redemption story, the beginning where he's an idiot experiencing everything, and at the end he had the beautiful ride, and he understands his whole life coming together. I need to get that result before my ending days.
Yeah, and
because that wisdom is like something I think more people need to understand. I mean, I think I got an okay grasp on it, but I think there's, like I said, there's so much for me. Like I got yelled at the other day. Some person said, you're a kid. You think you know everything. I'm like, dude, I've talked to so many people now that I've learned I do not know a damn thing. Like when my friends ask me now when they text me, I actually got texted tonight. It's my buddy's birthday. He was like, hey, you want to go out and drinking with us? I'm just letting you know you don't have, obviously we're not like telling you to do this, but we're asking you just in case you wanted to go, because they know I'm not into that. They know I'm not about it. And I told them like, nah, if you want to swing by or you need somebody to call me. But I'll see him on his own and I'll do my own birthday thing for him. But like, it's the whole concept of, nowadays people need to feel justified by partying out or going experiencing something. I'm like, you got to find the knowledge where it lies. Is that 20,000 beers you're drinking that night really going to help you? Is that hospital trip going to help you at all in your life, or is it going to ruin it? I'm trying to find out what's the most beneficial stuff to structure on, but not feel super structured. Live a life that is meant for fun, but also meant to last.
Yeah, it's all about balance, right? I mean, it's balancing, that kind of stuff. And it's awesome, man. Like you like made a choice that, like, it's crazy, right? Because you're 21. Now you can fucking legally go out and fucking drink. It's funny. It's almost like the same thing with me. It's just like I did a lot of, I drank and did this like before I was 21. I turned 21. Now, granted, a couple of my buddies took me out for my 21st birthday. But honestly, like after that, I'm not at the bars every weekend. That's not me.
I work at a hotel. You know what I brought home today? I brought a 24-pack of Miller Lite home. I just found it in the fridge. I don't drink it. I had so much beer in my garage. Like if the cops came, like this guy's a freaking distillery in his garage. It just sits there. I just give them to my buddies when they come over, when we podcast or something. Like, you want a beer? Like, sure. And they're like, you're not drinking? I'm like, I don't need it. I'm already having a great time.
Yeah, look, I have Miller Lights in my refrigerator from New Year's. It's like the one time that I actually like drink.
New Year's Day or New Year's Eve?
Yeah, New Year's Eve.
That's my birthday.
That's pretty cool, man, because you could actually drink and celebrate like New Year's.
Yeah, but my parents were DJs, so it was like, I'm going to work unless you want to spend some time together. And I'm like, what am I going to do at 12 years old with my parents besides I could just play video games all night and hang out with my friends? It was always so hard to set shit up, too, because everyone was like, we're out doing stuff with our family at this moment. It's like, damn, it's like having a birthday on Christmas. Like, you ain't getting any fucking cards or anything. Nobody's coming to your house.
It's terrible. Like, to have a birthday. You know what else is? I mean, and this is actually my best friend. He's got 2 kids. They're exactly a year apart, and they were born on the same day.
Damn.
So they share a birthday.
Did he time that? Like, did he grab like the calendar and he's like, all right, we conceived on this day.
I mean, what are the odds?
So next year we need to do it again at this time.
So,
Maybe. she just gets hard, or she gets like turned on that one day of the year, like
But,
that
like,
specific day.
But like once again, then you go back to, man, I have to share like my birthday like with my sibling. I think that would kind of suck to be honest.
That's when one of the siblings mysteriously dies of something or disappears.
It'd be like having your birthday on Christmas. You'd be like, well, Robbie, your presents are like birthday and Christmas. Wait a minute.
I made that shit clear at the beginning. I was like, I'm born 6 days after. We're doing something completely different. And they said, all right, fine. And they learned. And it sucks because my brother's 6 days before Christmas.
Oh, man.
So they're getting like a triple whammy from it all. And I'm like, but they're like, what don't you think though? Maybe they're just kind of, you only know what you have. They're like, no, I know when they got me gifts, it was the same amount of gifts as much as yours. And then I got gifts later because they know me. Honestly, to be 100% honest, I'll send you a picture if you don't believe me. Because it's funny, I can send you up pictures and you can go and say I have, it's all true. Because I have a bunch of cards in this, exactly where I'm pointing right now in my podcast room. In the closet, there's a bunch of cards saved up there that all have stuff circled. And I tell them, don't keep the money in the card, write it down and circle the shit you mean. Because my great-grandfather is no longer with me. I drive his car, okay? But whenever I read one of his cards, if I want to hear his voice, I immediately start getting that narration of him. I see it says, hey, you're awesome. Keep it up. I love you a lot. Bam. There you go. He's gone. I still got it. It's the same concept. The kid that had his dad pass away and he played a video game and his dad was the top leader in the game or whatever, had the top record lap or something. And it put his ghost AI in it. And his whole time he would play, he would have his dad's ghost car flying in front of him. And he talks about like right when he was about to beat it one time, he stopped right before he hit the finish line and let that thing go across because he realized that was the last thing his dad had, that he had left of his dad. The one thing that made him feel like he was playing video games with his dad. I hear that, and I'm like, that is realism. That's a real thing, not the Instagram dislike or the fact that now people think I look like Tom fucking Holland.
Oh, you kind of do.
Are you serious? Did you see my Instagram post? Did you see my Instagram post? You didn't see it? Dude. I'll fucking send you this right now.
Now that you point it out.
Shut up.
Hey,
I have so many people every day tell me I look like Tom Holland.
And I look like Adrian Brody. You know who Adrian Brody is?
You do kind of look like Adrian.
There you go. All right.
You have a cat's ass on the back of your head right now because your cat's sitting right behind you.
That's prudence.
I just sent you a picture I put up on Instagram of all these people. Now it's on Twitter. It's got 10,000 retweets. I'm really, really scared because if this gets me to
Oh my God. You love James. Dude, it's like your twin brother, man.
Shut up.
Separated at birth.
I don't like him. Tobey Maguire's my Spider-Man. Don't change my mind.
He's a great Spider-Man. Come on, man.
He was 30 and he still made you feel like he was 18.
Oh, Tobey?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Tobey Maguire's probably my favorite Spider-Man. So,
he's my favorite, yeah.
So, absolutely. And I loved Spider-Man 3, dude. Everybody shits on it, but I actually loved all three of the Tobey Maguire.
They should make a Star Wars and just put all the biggest actors in it.
No, because that's not Star Wars, man. See, it's funny, me and my brother, we talked about this. They should, make a Star Wars movie that's not in this canon, but still use like Luke, Han, Leia. No, you put nobodies in it. And that's the beauty about Star Wars, right? So when Star Wars came out in 1977.
Oh, so you don't see them as, oh, that's the guy that played in Terminator. That's Arnold. That's him. You see them as actually the character they're playing as in the movie, not just someone you already know him as.
Yeah. So, and like I said, that's the beauty about Star Wars is they were nobodies when the movie came out. Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford really didn't do much before Star Wars came out.
Indiana Jones.
But that was after Star Wars.
It led him to better and bigger roles.
And he's even lucky he got that, man, because George Lucas did not like using the same people. The only reason – this is a really cool story. So Harrison Ford was in a movie with George Lucas called American Graffiti with Ron Howard. Ron Howard was in it. Harrison Ford was in it, just small part. And George Lucas was adamant on, I am not using same actors in my movies. So, but he asked Harrison Ford to come in and just read lines with people. And it's cool because on my special features on some of my Star Wars stuff, it shows him, dude, Kurt Russell comes in and reads for Han Solo. And it shows the screen test, with Kurt Russell in this. And then it shows Harrison Ford talking with Carrie Fisher, talking with other actresses. And like, finally, like George Lucas, like leaned back and said, I think Harrison is right for this role, just because he came in and did George Lucas a favor. Yeah. He beat out all the other actors that came in, and he wasn't even up for the part, which is a super cool story. Right. And then, George Lucas gets with Steven Spielberg and is just like, hey man, we're going to do Indiana Jones. Who should we get? Harrison Ford. I mean, right. And it's just like, man, it's a Harrison Ford, man, is, dude, he's fucking Han Solo. He's fucking Indiana Jones. So, I mean,
there's everything good about Harrison Ford. He looks like a damn gentleman. Let me tell you that. But the concept here, we need to stop acting like Jabba the Hutt and start acting more like Jar Jar Binks. We need to start being. Yeah, we need to start kind of questioning a lot of stuff and getting ourselves into stuff that we know is going to hurt us in the long run. Like maybe get our tongue stuck to something that ends up getting like, you shouldn't have done that. Like the kid that licks the pole knowing it's going to get stuck there in the Christmas Story.
Fucking A.
We need to sometimes have that simplicity on the concept of maybe that's a better life. You know, the fact that being Jabba the Hutt and constantly judging others and constantly getting people to feed you, like that whole thing, it's a shitty roll of the dice because you end up being miserable and you end up getting choked out. Like, you know, it's not a life to live. I think the best life to live is where you're the one chasing after a butterfly. You're the one doing the simplest things. It's called that's what's seen as being a dreamer rather than being a schemer.
Yeah, and and it kind of goes back to, you're talking about, sticking your tongue to the polls and this and that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, you're not going to learn anything in life if you're not fucking up, if you're not making mistakes, if you're not doing some stupid shit. See, I mean, you learn life lessons by fucking up. Once again, you learn from failure. You can choose not to learn from failure, but hopefully eventually, that's how you learn things. And people say it all the time, like we put so much pressure on ourselves, like with our daily jobs. Don't, it's like, I got to be perfect. I can't make mistakes. No, man. One of my phrases I use, like, if you're not making mistakes, then you're not working, because everybody makes mistakes. Right.
Well, people make
you have to make mistakes so you actually fucking learn something every once in a while, and keep yourself on your toes. And it's not a bad thing when somebody fucking comes to you and it depends on how they approach you. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a bad thing when someone says, hey, Mike, you did this time, and, maybe, you should do this. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I really did it the wrong way this time. Let me try it a different way. Maybe that's going to help me do my job better.
I think our besides changing perspective, our biggest flaw is our best feature. We are flawed. That's what makes us all so damn awesome and unique, is because we all have different flaws. We have to learn to live with our flaws and learn to use our flaws to our potential rather than just push them under the carpet and try and hide them, because those flaws never go away.
I got tons of flaws.
I got flaws too, man. Everybody's got them.
I think I was telling you, it's a matter of recognizing them and then mentally doing something about it. And like I said, you're not gonna fucking change one night, 2 nights, 3 nights, week, 4 weeks. Like sometimes it could take 6 months or a year. But if you recognize something about yourself and you try to work on it and you keep trying, you don't give up, and it's that self-recognition and sticking to it. And, and like I said, man, I guilty as charged. I mean, I say wrong shit and do wrong shit all the time, but dude, we're always works in progress, right? If you think you're fucking perfect, fuck you. Hey, fuck you. Nobody's fucking perfect. You should always be a work in progress. You should always try to improve yourself, right? Dude, I use Tom, and I don't care if you give 2 fucks if you don't like Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a perfect motherfucking example of this. This motherfucker has won fucking how many fucking Super Bowls? I'm a Patriots fan, but don't get me wrong, right? No, this motherfucker's after ring number 7. This motherfucker has a Tom Brady diet. This motherfucker stays in shape, eats right, does the right thing, mentally goes in there and keeps trying to improve himself. Does he have to improve himself? Does he have to do anything different? The motherfucker's won 6 championships with the same team. This motherfucker doesn't need to do anything else. But what does he do? He shows our society how we should probably be. I need to keep working on things. I need to work on my foot
Bill
speed.
Bill Gates. He doesn't need any more money, but he keeps on producing. You know, it's the concept of you want to keep on progressing and not finding that limit, not just sticking up to the requirement. Keep on going past that.
Yes, because you have to keep evolving and you have to keep changing and you got to keep growing, because we talked about it. I told you there's the comfort zone and then there's the learning zone. And when you're in the comfort zone,
you're not
everything's
learning.
comfortable and you're not learning anything. You know, my son, and he just said this to me today. He was like, Dad, all my grades are awesome. And, I'm doing good this year. And he struggles, man. He struggles with math and stuff like that. And he's like, my grades are great. And I'm like, awesome. Great job. And, that's awesome. And he goes, well, he's like, there's this class called computer appreciation. I'm not doing so good. I'm just terrible. You know what we're doing? What are you doing in there? Oh, we're learning how to like make a website. And I'm going, that's fucking awesome. I was like, that's pretty cool. And he's like, I'm fucking terrible at it. And I'm probably going to get a bad grade. And I'm like, okay. I said, hold on a second, man. I said, hold on. I said, so you're getting good grades everywhere else, but you're kind of struggling with this class. And I said, you don't like making websites. But I said, so you think it's hard? Yeah, it's hard. And it's tough and this. And I said, well, wait a minute, bud. I said, so you're uncomfortable. And he was like, yeah. And I said, that's a good thing. I said, because you're learning and your mind is actually, and I said, it's scary, isn't it? I said, it's scared. It's intimidating. You're uncomfortable. Maybe your anxiety's up a little bit. But I said, buddy, that's a good thing. I said, no, yeah. I said, and then of course I have to relate it to like a video game scenario where I'm just like, okay, hold on. So when you first started playing Call of Duty or Mario Kart, I said, the very, very first time you put that game in, were you any good? Or Fortnite would be a way better example, right? Were you any good? No, I died constantly. Exactly. I said, so how were you a week later? A little better. How were you a month later? Better. How were you a couple months later? Well, I was winning. Okay. I said, same principle, right? I said, I know it's a video game. It has nothing to do with like your school, but I said, same principle. You popped in a video game. You're scared. You were timid. What's the control? What's all the controlling? I'm dying all the time. You get mad. You get frustrated, right? Because you're dying all the time. But you stick with it and you learn and you learn and you learn and you learn. And before you know it, you're not thinking about hitting square, triangle, X, R1, R2, because your brain just knows what to hit all of a sudden because you practice, you stuck with it.
That's why pencils. Well, that's why pencils have an eraser. You're meant to make mistakes. The reason why they had it there was so they knew you could make mistakes. That's why when you wrote in pen, you were fucked. Like there was no way to erase that. I think what people need to understand in this saga that we just did is the concept of, out of everything we've said, flaws are what make us people. It's what makes us human. And we need to learn to hone in our flaws. And, we need to capitalize them, not try and push them away because they never go away. There's something that's a part of us. It's something that makes us human. It makes us whole, and it makes us so damn awesome.
Like I said, we'll kind of wrap. We're going on 2 hours, so we'll wrap it up here.
Are we about to hit 2 hours?
We're over 2 hours.
Damn it. Spotify's not going to take it.
2 hours and 3 minutes and 54 seconds right now. Like I said, we'll just kind of wrap it up. And yeah, man, just the last point I'll make is you're right. Just all these little characteristics. And it's actually the people that are close to you because look, man, when you meet people, there's a wall, and it's when you lift that wall and you let people into those little things about you, those, just those little things that not everybody knows about you, especially the person you live with, and that's what makes people special and unique and interesting is, learning those little things, because I'm the type of person that, yeah, man, I like the big picture, and I do think big picture a lot. But when it comes to people, the most like so, I'm in Star Wars and this and that, and
Oh,
and
you're
this
into
and that.
Star Wars? I didn't know.
But dude, like I thought we were gonna talk a lot of Star Wars, and once again, dude, we've just been talking about this, that, that. Because like the cool thing about me and you talking is we get just a little piece of each other, and I get a little bit of, oh, this is a little bit of Robbie, and this is a little bit of Robbie.
Yeah,
over
it's like
here.
it's like taking my hair and putting it in your wallet or something.
There you go. And you're getting little bits from me about things that I have opinions on, I'm passionate about, right? And and that's the good stuff, right?
Connectivity. I'm your
Amen.
Padawan. You're teaching me wisdom about Star Wars, and I'm teaching you wisdoms of why 2 scoops of death from Raisin Bran can.
I've heard this, and I've heard your fucking masturbation shit about the fucking
You
series.
know it to be true, young one. You know it.
All right, and before we sign off here, man, really quickly, last week, because I told you, dude, I'm never home, right? I'm gone from 7:30 to 11, so I'm never home.
Put me on the Sith Talkers.
Yeah. So, but no, real quick, you inspired me to bring the family dinner and the game night back, which I used to do, but you inspired me from you finding me listening to your podcast. And yeah, man, we had family dinner last Sunday, and we played I let the kids pick whatever we wanted to play. We played Uno. Dude, we played Uno for like 2.5 hours.
Shit's fun.
Awesome. It was awesome. Right? It wasn't, like I said, it's not about playing Uno. It's about fucking,
Connecting.
And like I said, all the phones and everything was gone. So it was awesome, man. So yeah, man, I only get to do it once a week right now, but I got to start somewhere.
Small steps, bro. That'll turn into 5. That'll turn into 2.
Well,
then 3,
when I stop working 2 jobs, that's when it will, yeah.
Hey, at least you're finding time where it counts. People don't see it. People don't even do that now. They don't even take an hour. So might as well be able to sit down with your family for a couple hours and play Uno.
Yeah, it was really good, man. And it felt, like I said, dude, it felt good. Dude, like I said, I got a fucking mountain of fucking board games collecting dust, right? Because we haven't played them for years.
They're just art pieces now. They make you like you hang out with your family.
And I grew up playing cards and playing Monopoly and playing board games with my family, and that's why I introduced it, and that's how it was with my family. And I introduced board games, and I did all that stuff with my kids. And yeah, right, it goes away. They're teenagers and this and that. So you can still do that, fucking 18, 16 years old. Hell yeah.
Mike, I've made a good friend here. I can tell you that. Mr. Mike Lando Ferrando. I'm telling you, dude. It's honestly good talking to you. This is going to be Saga 1 of I don't even know how many sagas we could do. I already got a perfect title for this. Awesome. We're going to call it the Saga of Satisfaction.
Right on. And right back at you, my friend. I mean, it's been a pleasure meeting you and talking to you.
Experiencing me.
Hey, man. Yeah, like just experience. Once again, man, me doing, like I said, yeah, man, hey, check out Sith Talkers, my podcast. Hit me up on Instagram at Sith Talkers, on Twitter, on
Slide
Facebook.
in the DMs, do it.
I'm mostly active on Instagram, but if you send me an email at sithtalkers@gmail.com, me and my brother will give you a personal fuck you on our podcast. Just want to put that out there.
I'm going to send one after we conclude this, and also hopefully I will guest star on a Sith Talkers.
You will absolutely guest star on a Sith Talkers. I'm actually reached out to, and this is amazing, and I love this, man. I'm telling you, man, I'm meeting more and more podcasters, Star Wars podcasters. I'm trying to set up to have another podcast on my show next week, and it's a couple of women who do a podcast about Star Wars, which is amazing.
Shit.
Which is amazing. I'm not saying anything, but it's mostly.
It's not amazing for you because you're married.
It's I just think it's cool that there's like women who are doing a Star Wars podcast. And once again, man, they were just on a thread on Facebook and was like, hey, all Star Wars podcasters, anybody want to, get together? Dude, I responded immediately. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to check out your podcast. Come on my podcast. We'll have a lot of fun.
Hey,
So
that first step is sometimes being the one that says hi.
yeah, and like I said, they made a point just to say, hey, everybody, we all post stuff and talk about stuff. Why don't we get together?
That's why I take the risk of posting on Reddit, knowing I'm going to get some dude that just probably wants to kill me. But at the same time, I meet some pretty interesting people.
Absolutely.
Have faith in people.
Yep. Yeah, I say that all the time, dude. I say, ye of little faith.
Ye of little faith.
Sometimes, man, you just need to have faith, and that's what's So maybe that's gonna be on part 3 of our conversation. People need to have more little faith, man.
Or a brick to the head.
And I will go over a story. I have actually been hit in the head with a brick, but I'll go right. Hey, teaser for part 3. There you go.
Teaser for the next saga. We're gonna call it Saga of Brick Head Throwing.
And we will try to keep it under 2 hours so we can put it on Spotify.
I'm going to find a way to get this up there.
You're going to have to edit, my friend. Dude, I haven't edited my podcast. Dude, I still have like 4 hours of edit.
I will find a way. If there's a hole, I will fill it.